We about to hit the line. All right, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's Talk Podcast. We meet again, once again, every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got a new speaker in the building, BA. So we looking forward to see what you bring to the table. We got our regular girl here, Reese Roberts, as always. We love when she comes. Wonderful speaker. We're just
Thank you.
waiting on a few more people to hit the building. And then we'll just get going. Oh, we lost one of our speakers. You know, we lost one of our speakers, but it's all good. So don't get into too much, Reese, because I know how you can get, girl. But what you think of the show? So what you think so far? But don't go. Save it for the show now.
I'm not,
'Cause, like, I gotta,
uh,
because you be bringing all the business out. I don't want you to
I
bring out
try.
the show.
I try to do everything I can to make it engaging, but so far I'm loving it. I always enjoy opportunity to connect and really, just tap into the spirit with my people because I understand, just how the spirit flows. We all are of the same spiritual body, same
All right,
spiritual nature. So I like to just tap in,
all
let it
right.
flow.
That's what I like.
Hmm.
All right, good, good. So I got Stanley coming and Kevin. They're gonna hit us up. I was checking out some of your stuff on Spotify. Man,
Okay.
it was good. I was loving it. I
Okay,
was
I'm glad you got a chance to check it out.
yeah, I was loving it. I love the way you speak. Well, you always speak well, but
Thank you.
it sounds like super professional on Spotify. Like you always speak well, but your podcast on Spotify, man.
I be trying, girl, because you never know who gonna be on there. So I try my best to clean it up a little bit.
You call that trying, but okay, that's what you
Yes.
call trying. But I don't want. What is the
Ah,
fool? What's
I
the
am.
fool?
My aspiration is for one day either do a TED talk or to start doing what you call it Toastmasters. I
Oh,
eventually
okay,
want to play
okay.
around with Toastmasters because they be having like speaking competitions and just little stuff where you can get out there and touch in, tap in and touch some people. So one day I'm gonna bring my skills to the platform when I get enough courage to do it.
Oh no, you got it, girl.
I
You ever
appreciate
heard
it.
that stuff on Spotify, BA?
Man, I didn't even know Reese was on Spotify. Entertain the
Yeah.
thought. I'm familiar with. Yeah, me and Reese did some work. We did some work a couple years back. We did some work together. Um,
Hmm.
like I said, most definitely catch up. It's been a minute, Reese. Yeah, we got to build. So
Yep.
bring you up to date.
But you know how it
Yeah.
is. Life, drifts, takes us with the current. Sometimes you
Yeah,
fall out of
the
touch and you
career.
come right back.
Yeah, the career went a different direction other than I had planned, and it actually has been a benefit to me. But I'll most definitely bring you up to speed on that.
All right, same here. I'll do the same.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure I'm there to be up to speed too. I want to be there.
I know that's right. She said, "Don't leave me out." What y'all talking about?
Don't leave me out. Don't do
Good,
that.
bro. Good. It's all good.
Don't do that. Reese, listen, the reason I turned my camera on this week is because you had your camera on last
I'm
week. But
coming.
now
I'm
this
coming.
week, let's turn your like that's the only reason I came on camera today.
I got you. I'm coming. I actually am
Because
coming. I have I've
I'm
been
not a
walking
camera
around my
girl.
office. I've been
I am
tearing
not
my
a camera
office
girl.
up. Let me tell you something. I got this brochure, like a capability statement that I got printed out professionally, and I went to go show it to somebody today, and I can't find it. I'm tearing my office apart trying to find this printout of this it's like a contracting tool for marketing purposes that I use, and I cannot find it. I'm just all over the place.
And
So
sometimes it
one
be in
thing
the
I
most obvious spot.
yeah, and I'm everywhere looking for this doggone paper. And I said, I'm just gonna maybe order me another one. But goodness gracious, I cannot find this paper. So, but once we start talking, I'm gonna sit down and let it go.
That's okay, because that's the only reason I came on camera. BA, I was not gonna come on camera, but
Okay.
I was like, she on camera last week, and I was like, my girl cannot be on camera by herself.
You, thank you. 'Cause I'm sure enough been ready to be on there. I'm about to light me a
I'll let
candle.
you do that. I let her do it last week because your girl was a hot mess that day. Okay,
Trust me, I'm
I was
actually
like,
right now.
she gonna have to roll solo. Stanley came on with her, but I was like, yeah.
He held it down with me.
But this week I won't gonna let you go out like that.
Thank you.
I put on some lip gloss this week. Okay.
Hey, I heard that, baby. I appreciate it because Lord knows I try to, let the spirit flow through me. Come on there and share my good vibes through the camera. They say you can read people through pictures and images. Let me test that out real quick. See how they do.
My image. Can you read? I got 7 kids. Can you read that?
Not at all. But I'm telling you, you've been making me want to have more children when you break it down like you did. How they take care of themselves after a certain number.
Girl, because when you got that one kid, they a pain in the butt. They want to be all up in your business. They don't
Okay.
got nobody to go run off and bother. When you got multiple kids, you just send them to go bother each other.
Do what they gonna do.
Only problem is when they fighting. It's the worst.
I think I'm actually gonna join this from my desktop. I'm on my cell phone right now. I'm gonna switch over so I can sit my butt down. I'm hot as on.
Yeah, Kevin in the building.
Yo, sorry I'm late.
You
Sorry I'm late.
good. You good. We giving you guys a few minutes. We're gonna wait about
My
10
bad.
minutes, 15. So we're gonna wait maybe like 3 to 7 more minutes and we'll get the show started. What do y'all think about the title? Now don't give it all away. Don't give it away. I'm not telling you to get up here and give all the good stuff away. But what do you guys think about the title so far? The rap industry effects on women. What y'all think? What you think, Kevin? The rap
Like, oh,
industry effects on women.
the rap industry effects on women. Wow, that's very close to what we were talking about in our Bible study. Yeah, I totally honest with you.
Yeah, she was getting me upset too because she was hitting it. She was getting all them puts. I said, "Girl, what is you doing? You supposed to say that for my show, girl. You better remember all that you said. Everything you was saying yesterday. You better remember all of it." I was so
Oh,
upset. I was like, "What is she
look,
doing?"
trust me, I talk about this so much. I could talk about it for days and still come back with some more stuff.
Good, good. Make sure you have it today, okay?
Passionate. Oh
Because she
yes,
was
I'm
going
passionate
in. She was
about it.
going in yesterday.
I'm trying to tell you, I be passionate about it.
I see the brother BA on here.
Yeah.
Y'all got the man on here. I can't say nothing. BA is on here.
Yeah, what's up? What's
What,
up with it? What's up with it?
what's up, BA? And hey, look, yeah, if I knew BA was on here,
Oh, you would have
y'all
been on
got
time.
all
You would have
the
been on
help y'all.
time.
Hey man,
You would
hey,
have been on time.
I'm nobody, bro. I am a nobody.
Don't
Y'all,
I am
say that.
a
Don't say that. Do not
seriously,
say
seriously.
that.
I'm a common man. I'm a laborer,
Nah.
and I don't. I ain't nobody important. I ain't
stop.
nobody important.
You literally, hey, this brother's in the industry and he's putting out bangers from a spiritual viewpoint. So I highly respect this brother. He's been around ABT for longer than me, probably. So it's not too much I can say, but I will say this in terms of the industry and how they make money. It's something that obviously impacts our community. It's something that when you're talking about something that's negative that sells, we see this all the time in other industries, boxing. Bad things sell fights. To be honest with you, right? So when you have a negative aspect and people look at things from a negative viewpoint, that's going to sell what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? I'm not a music producer, nothing like that. But I mean, I will say this: when you have people that are speaking something from a negative viewpoint, and you're putting women out there as kind of like a piece, a trophy piece, to bring in money, to bring in entertainment. I can go all day, but I mean, look the pornography in the entertainment world. That's one of the biggest things, period, in terms of money making, right? So you would be you if you're trying to sell your music, you're gonna instantly exploit women, right? So it's one of the things that kind of goes with what they're trying to do. I'm not with that worldly at all, but I would say if I'm a producer or if I'm a huge music exec, the first thing you want to do is put a woman there because if you look at the porno industry, Look how much money they make per year. It's ridiculous. So you would be stupid. I mean, obviously, if you're not a godly person, you would be stupid not to exploit this because that's an automatic thing of making money, regardless of what you're talking about. You put a woman out there and you're exploiting her. This is just how America works. And it sounds bad, it sounds sad, but it's the absolute truth. I can't say what's not the truth here. You're looking for the truth, that's the truth. But I don't want to get too far into it. That's kind of my overall my thoughts right away looking at
All right. Yeah, and that's part of what the conversation is going to be about today. And BA, man, they hitting you up in the chat. they
No, hey sis. To be honest, I'm nobody. I'm a loner, and I'm just a common man. I'm a laborer. I'm an organizer in the labor movement. I'm nobody important. I really appreciate the fact that people appreciate what I do, and I'm humbled by that. But believe me, I am nothing. I'm just a regular dude raising my kids on my own and doing my own thing. You know what I'm saying? And I
well, that
just humble. You know what I'm saying?
that that makes us appreciate you more because you humble. That just makes us love
Because
you
I was sure
more
enough about to
because you're
say
humble.
I don't accept that. Yeah,
Yeah, right. She's not accepting that. She's not accepting
Well,
that.
and see, Reese know me, so you know what I'm saying. But to be honest, I mean, I don't really like to. I mean, when if people recognize it, hey, I appreciate it. But to be honest, I'm nothing. To be honest, I
Well,
could be here.
you are something to me, my brother, and I
I was
want to
about to say you're
say
gonna have to
I am
prove that
thank
to me.
you. I am so thankful that you're here tonight, and
Hey,
that
because
you.
because and I thank you for bringing me on, but I could be here one day and could be gone the next. That's, you know what I'm saying. So, and I had to learn through the years because I used to get cocky. So now I'm at a point in my life to where like I'm gonna be 40 years old, and I'm just like, you know what? Let me just be cool and just be thankful to the opportunities I do have, because not you don't ever
Yeah.
get that many. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like that. Y'all see, the brother's humble. That's why I like these type of people on the show. But at the same time, we love you. We appreciate that you're here. And with that being said, we got everybody in the building. So I want to take some time. First, we're going to put the title out there again for people that's just stepping in. Is when you hit the click, when you hit the link, you'll see it on top. It says the rap industry effects on women. The rap industry effects on women. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I got a PowerPoint that we're going to be going over, and I expect everybody tonight. Please, if you can, just have respect for one another, even in the chat. You guys, we may not agree. Somebody may say something on the panel that you don't agree with. That's okay, but we have to be respectful. Remember, at the end of the show, we're going to let you guys come on up. I'm going to put the link out there, and you can ask anyone on this panel whatever question you want, and they're willing to answer it to the best of their abilities. Just make sure that you have a lot of respect, okay? With that being said, I want to take time to just introduce our special guests. First and foremost, when you're not speaking, everyone on the panel, hit the mute button, because last week we had a lot of background noise, echoes, and I want everyone to be able to hear all the good information that you guys are going to share today so that we can hopefully, Lord's will, help our communities. With that being said, the first one that I want to bring up, let this sister be known, Reese Roberts, entertain the thought. That's my girl. She comes here every week. She's been supporting me. I appreciate everything that she does. I want to just give her a few minutes just to introduce herself, and any projects you work on, anything at all, just let us know. The floor is yours.
Well, my name is Reese Roberts. As she mentioned, my podcast is called Entertain the Thought. I just talk about, esoteric knowledge, talking about my evolution in from religion to spiritual, kind of uh, discoveries of life and what it all means. So you can find that on most streaming platforms. It is on Spotify. There are some videos on Facebook and on um, YouTube. But I'm just here to share. I don't really have any current projects out right now, but this that I'm contributing to, because I absolutely love this platform and just being able to, like I said, tap in and be around like-minded people where we can share and kind of just, contribute something worthwhile to the community. So that's what I'm here for, and I can't wait to get started.
All right, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, you guys said you heard the girl. She said check her out. Let me tell you something. I listened to some of her stuff on Spotify. I mean, the most I mean, so professional,
Thank you.
well speaker. She make you think. You're gonna sit back and say, okay, yeah, this girl got a lot to say, and it's worth hearing. The next special guest that I have, you guys, I am so excited that this brother came to bless us with his presence. We got Zadok the God Hop. My brother, man, I've been following him for a long time since Debate Talk for You days. Again, y'all check out Debate Talk for You. Anybody's interested in debates, dialogue, discussions, anything like that, check out Debate Talk for You. That's where it's at. That's where I got introduced to Zadok. Another very well speaker, has a lot to bring to the conversation. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Any information you want to share with them? The floor is yours.
Hey, praise Yah. I appreciate the opportunity. What's going on with you, Christina? What you doing?
I'm just glad you're here. Like, I'm glad that you came. And you guys are going to see what I mean. Once you hear what this brother start bringing to the table, y'all got to understand. Same thing with Reese when I was talking about her. You guys are going to see as we start getting into the conversation. And next up, we got Stanley. Stanley, I know his name is Stanley Sylvain, but I call him Stanley the Manly. And I blame Josh for that. I can't help it. So Stanley the Manly, you can check him out on Clubhouse. Just type his name in, Stanley Sylvain, Facebook. He has some of the greatest teachers I ever listened to. And not just that, he's one of the most humblest brothers you will ever meet. It's hard to be mad at him. Like, I can't, even if I don't agree, I just can't be mad at him. I just love him. I don't know why. So Stanley, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself to the people.
Oh my goodness, Christina, you are amazing. But I just want to thank everybody, especially Sister Christine, for being here and inviting me into this powerful topic. I just want to be a major supporter for her ministry. You know, God is inspiring her to do a lot of big things and move and reach out to the community. And a lot of times people, we have these things in our thoughts, but it dies there. But Sister Christina is actually crystallizing it and putting it into reality, and she's putting it out there, and she's actually, you know, asking me to be involved in that. Like, how could I say no? You know, and I definitely want to be, and I'm there in the mix of greatness. I mean, I got Sister Reese around here, I got Brother Zadok here, got Brother BA, Brother KJ. You know, I mean, come on, man. I mean, I just feel like a small dog in front. I feel like a chihuahua in front of all of these big dogs around here. But it's all good though, because I love them. They family, and we're all gonna, you know, feed from each other, and hopefully everybody will be blessed by that.
All right, all right. You see what I mean? See how humble he is? Like, this is his moment. This is his moment to do his thing. And he's like, I just love everybody. We just love everybody. And I'm just thankful. He's so humble and he's genuine. He's not playing. He is dead serious. This is how humble this brother is. That's why I love him so much. Next up, man, got the man BA in the building. You guys don't know this brother is one of the most talented brothers that I've listened to lately, because I haven't been into the rap music for a long time, personally, just because of some of the things they talk about. I'm just not into it. But I listened to a recent song that he did, Everything I See, on his YouTube channel, Apostle BA. You guys got to check that song out. This man got a lot of talent, people sleeping on him. So why don't you introduce yourself to the people, any projects you're working on, give out any information or anything you want to share with the people?
Well, thank you, sis. I appreciate you. I'm BA out of Sacramento, California. Currently at this moment, I'm just glad to be here amongst elders. And when I say elders, I'm talking about conduct and behavior. Everyone here is well mature. I'm pretty familiar with just about everybody here. As far as any personal projects, I am working on my second album. It's called Booth Presence. Definitely be on the lookout for that. For those who would like to hear more of my material that I have on Spotify, Apple, it's called Unpopular by Demand Volume 1. And the content is pretty much unpopular topics that people in the religious world or in the conscious world or in the real world don't want to talk about. So for those who are interested, just put in Apostle BA Abide, Spotify, Apple, and various other digital platforms. And again, sister, I appreciate you and much love to you.
Oh no, thank you, thank you. I'm just so excited. And the
Hey,
last but
sis.
not least, yes, what you want to say, Zadok?
My bad. I was messing around with you. I forgot to tell people to go check me out. I forgot you said, yo, you want to know
Yes,
more?
yeah, you
I
gotta share.
forgot.
This is your opportunity.
Yeah,
Share your
I'm messing with
stuff.
you.
Wake
You
up
need
now. Go ahead
leave,
and go.
leave me alone. You leave me alone. But hey, y'all. Hey, God bless y'all. I'm a Bible teacher and a minister. I run a discipleship and fellowship ministry called the Growing Stone Fellowship. And the Most High has been blessing us. So if any of you guys want to check out live streams dealing with Bible topics, open discussions, um, you can check me out on Clubhouse. I have a room called the Bible Dojo. You can find me there as Zadok the God Hop MC. I also on my YouTube page, which is Zadok the God Hop MC, I teach on that channel every Friday and Sunday night. God willing, tonight in about 2 or 3 hours, I'm actually going to be doing a presentation on the Apostle Paul. So if you're looking for someone who don't mind sharing the word of God, and I think I have something to add. I don't claim to know it all, but people know my motto. I don't speak to be agreed with, I speak to be heard. So agreement is subjective to every person and what they understand. Go check me out. Go check me out. And I am also a Christ-centered Kingdom of God music-based artist under my name, Zadok the God Hop MC. And you can find my music videos on my channel. And you can patronize the music ministry I'm a part of called Hog Mob, which is HOGMOB. That stands for Hooked on God Ministry Over Business. Find our YouTube channel. Check us out. And if you want to know anything from there, it is what it is. I got 4 full-length albums and 1 EP on every major streaming platform on the internet, and just type in my name, Zadok, and explore. And if you like it, then hopefully you'll support it. I appreciate it. I don't know how I forgot to say that.
Nah, you good. You good. I was gonna give you another opportunity when we
Oh,
close
okay.
out too. So either way, you're gonna do it again because these y'all don't understand the people that's on the panel tonight. Y'all don't know how blessed you guys gonna be tonight. Y'all gonna see. You're gonna see. And last but not least, we got Kevin. Let me tell you something. The thing that gets me with Kevin is he's like so low key. He don't do social media. But he is powerful, powerful brother. He has a lot of information, a lot of experience, a lot to share with the people. So, Kevin, how about you introduce yourself to the panel? Let the people get to know you. If he's there, I see he's here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, you know what? Look, it's a huge pleasure and honor just to be on the stage with brothers BA, Stanley, who I consider my teacher as well. But the Zedek, I've actually been in his dojo as well. He is obviously the big brother to my teacher, brother Josh. So I consider him a teacher as well. I go into his Bible dojo as well and just learn from him. Again, I'm nobody in this game, man. But it's a pleasure that you invited me. I really, really appreciate you doing that, Sister Christina. Again, I'm not a social media person at all, but I am always a student. And I'm always learning. These brothers on the stage, I learn from each and every one of them, whether it's BA by his music or whether it's Stanley by him constantly giving me nuggets and giving me things to build on. But the Zedai, obviously, his debate from debate talk for you, and just who he is as a big brother to my teacher, Brother Josh. So I'm just honored just to be here. And look, man, I'm just gonna be listening. But I appreciate you having me on, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, all right, all right. With all that being said, thank you for coming. Everybody's so humble. I appreciate it. I'm so thankful that you guys just open up your time to be here tonight. With that being said, we're gonna get into the topic at hand. We're talking about the industry. That's what we're talking about. So what we're gonna do is I took some information out. I got a PowerPoint, but I don't want to jump right into it. The first thing I want to do is I want to give everybody just a few minutes to give us your take on whether or not you feel the industry has had an effect on women today, going back from the 1970s to now, the 21st century. And if you do believe it has an effect, what effect do you believe that it has? Now, we're going to try to keep it brief only because we got a lot of questions. We got people in the comment section saying things. So if you can, try to keep it to about 2-3 minutes. Just share with us exactly do you believe that the rap industry has had an effect on women? And if so, what were some of those effects that you see today? So, BA, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, and much love to the elder Bladtastic. I see you, elder. But yes, I believe that hip hop has had a major effect on women, and especially black women. There's some good and there's some bad. I'm an 80s baby. We were raised in the 90s. So I can remember back when I was a child, when I was living in East St. Louis, Illinois, before I moved to California. I remember my mother playing Public Enemy. Chuck D is my favorite MC of all time. Chuck D is number one on my list. And he was always knowledgeable and he was conscious. Um, and you never heard Public Enemy disrespect women. They were always uplifting and motivating and bringing liberation to the people, which includes women. Um, and then as time progressed, I moved to California at the age of 9 years old. Then my mom played a lot of Tupac. I was raised on a lot of Pac. And even though Pac was poetic in his own way, Pac would be positive. One half of Pac would be positive, and if you know Pac like I know Pac, Pac was also negative on the other side. He had that split personality. And so and not just Pac, but various rappers as hip hop evolved into it went from this stage to that stage and that stage. Consciousness, being a thug, being a gangster, and so forth, and even till now. And one thing it has taken a toll on a lot of black women. At one time, you had sisters like MC Light, Queen Latifah, positive women promoting an image of positivity. And now what we have, I don't have to say their names. We know who they are in this modern day age. Um, and you see the behavior which is projected on our young women to where now it's all about WAP, city girl, I'm a boss, and all this. So not only has it affected women, it also has affected the men as well. And as the conversation goes, and I'll try to be considerate of others, we'll dig into that more deeply. And I'm done.
Thank you, thank you. And I like that you said all that because we got Reese right after you. So Reese, what do you want to share about the topic of the day and any response to what BA said? You can definitely chime in.
Absolutely. I think we might all agree that the rap industry has affected women and men alike. So my position and what I usually like to make a point about is how that happened. Because my goal is always to be solution based, and to offer solution based thinking, because I think we all agree that it is a problem. So anytime you have a problem, a solution is necessary. So with this debate, what I would like to attack is how do we look at the problem for what it is, look at the root of the problem, and then think about solutions of how we can suggest things that might reasonably, feasibly be done in our communities. Because as we can see, underground positive music doesn't have a place in our minds and hearts because it is underground. We have to find a way to help independent music artists get their more positive messages into our homes, into our, like household names, so that they can become more of an influence than what the government or whatever is being commercialized and mainstreamed. Because obviously that's not what we actually want for ourselves. I don't think we ever did, because like Brother BA was saying, back in the day, there were rappers that were mainstream that did not degrade the community, didn't degrade the women, and they were mainstream. It wasn't until I think the powers that be recognized how powerful our music could be on our people that they started to industrialize it, and they started to control and censor what we could make popular and what we could have an opportunity to promote in our own communities. Individual artists at this point can't even get a deal if they're not degrading their community, they're not degrading their women, if they're not miseducating the children. So I think what we need to do is look at how we can do something similar to maybe like a bus boycott on the music industry. I think I might have talked about that on one of our other sessions. The bus boycott, they were responsible for organizing alternatives before they decided to execute their boycott. And I think that this is what we need to do. Um, Figure out a way to get those, what do you call them? SoundCloud links out. How do we push these things? How do we get them more subscribers on YouTube when these independent artists are promoting more positive messages. I know a guy, for example, named Rex Life Raj. He's so talented, but nobody really knows who he is. And so I think, we need to start thinking about those solutions for, how are we going to use music as a counter weapon in our communities? And I yield.
Thank you, sister. That was what I liked about what you pointed out was I actually did some research on where how rap started, because I'm not gonna say I'm a big fan of rap, but I see what it's doing to my community. So because of that, I do know songs here and there, but I decided to do some research. I never knew that the DJ was actually like the showstopper, the MC. The rapper was just to introduce the DJ. I didn't even know that. And when I found out that they used to do this in parties in the street, and like you said yourself, how it affected the community, they realized that and they said, "Oh snap, we're not gonna
We
call no
let these black
names."
people start
But
empowering themselves.
yeah, and I did some research on it, and my mind was blown. And I started connecting the dots. As soon as they started dabbling into it, that's where you're seeing that shift, slowly but surely. But with that being said, let's get Zadok in. Oh, you want to say something, BA? Then we're gonna go to Zadok.
Just want to say real quick. At one time, hip hop was the voice of the voiceless. It was the voice of the struggle when it came to the black and brown community. And then when the corporations got a hold to it, because at first corporations wouldn't even market hip hop music because it was said to be too black. And then when corporations got to it, or the bourgeois powers that we know in the society got a hold to it, they market it, they sell it. Now the consciousness is removed, the knowledge, the edification, the power, the motivation, the liberation on how to lift people out of poverty. Erase that. Sell drugs, disrespect women, pop your collar, all that other madness.
And pop some P while you at it, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. So that's what we have now. So, and you can't, and that sells. And those corporations, the bourgeois, you see how they're taking advantage, and they've taken it and they ran with it. And rappers have allowed that to happen. Nothing happens without the rappers, but for some reason the rappers have allowed corporate bourgeois interests to take over. And with that, I allow the elder to go ahead.
Go ahead, Zadok, chime on in here. Let's go. A lot was said. We can't hear you. I think your mic is muted.
Oh, there we go. Thanks. Oh boy. I don't really have no hope for hip hop as a whole. I don't romanticize it because it's a reflection of man. And even when we had our positive, what I would consider our more positive aspect of the music in the beginning, because it was in the hand of poor individuals and they got to express themselves the way that they wanted to. And some of them really wanted to see change. And of course, some, party people and this, that, and the third, because at the same time you had the positive element of guys who were more radical, more politicized, and more black power. I mean, these are 60s and 70s babies. You got to remember when I'm like a 10-year-old back in the 80s, the guys who are running rap are guys who were born in 1970. In 1968, they grow up on the back of Martin Luther King being assassinated, and the Black Panther movement and other things happening, and James Brown, I'm Black and I'm Proud. They were the kids who were coming up off of the Watts riots and the riots of Detroit and things of that nature. And so some of them had rebellion against the system in their heart. And on one hand, that's a great thing. But on another hand, because it really wasn't aimed at repentance toward the God of heaven, it was more or less pointing us to Egypt and pointing us to idols. And guys are wearing signs of Africa on themselves and wearing ankhs and wearing the heads of pharaohs, the way some guys wear Jesus pieces now. The good that was in it was still not going to be the answer to what our people needed, because it wasn't pointing us toward salvation. And for some people, that's hard to accept. But now, I'm not speaking from how I felt then. I'm speaking from a now lens of looking at what has happened. I remember when I used to raise dogs, I used to raise pit bulls, and I remember a guy telling me, hey man, you be real careful with how you treat them animals, bro. He said, because a dog that is abused in private gonna wind up one day biting his master in public. And one thing that we're seeing now, and there were some great points made about what corporations saw in a money opportunity, because the Black community has always been one of the biggest drivers of the music industry as far as the consumers spending their money. Another thing that has happened also is that when you had a rapper like Edo G and the Bulldogs have music like Be a Father to Your Child, in the mid 80s, Black young men who were rapping were telling our community, a lot of dads are stepping out the homes, and you can't blame it all on social services. My mother herself was a woman who had 4 children with 3 different men. So when I'm a kid, 9 years old, and I'm listening to Edo G say, be a father to your child, it meant a lot to me because my dad wasn't a dad to me. And what's happening is you have a generation now who are the byproduct of not listening to Edo G in the 80s when he said, be a father to your child. When the music was trying to push the Black man and the Black woman together, and even though it wasn't Christian, and you had a lot of the God bodies, the nation of the 5% gods and earths doing this. When Brand Nubian came out with Lord Jamar and all of these guys, when X-Clan came out, when Poor Righteous Teachers had songs like Rock This Funky Joint. And if you listen to what Wise, Intelligent, and them were saying, and they would throw up the peace sign like this, which in the 5% religion is the man and the woman together. You don't do this, you do this, because you don't separate man and woman. That wasn't listened to. And now the byproduct is a lot of children who are fatherless, and in some cases motherless, because when you having babies at 15 and now your 20-year-old daughter needs somebody to help her with her child, and the grandma is 35, still trying to live her life. Mm-hmm. There's a situation at hand that does this. It does 2 things. The Bible says a child left to himself would be the shame of his parents. And then another thing that the word of God says is that if the men don't repent and get themselves in order, when your daughters pose themselves as whores, and even when your wives fornicate, the Lord said, I will not punish them. And women will become the leaders of your people, and children will be your oppressors. So we can dismiss the word of God if we want to. And if we do, then what we'll miss is that the byproduct that we see now is a result of 2 things: a system that hates us, and then our refusal to become people of integrity and righteousness. And when those 2 things meet together, the byproduct will be more evil. And like you said, man, if you don't repent of your sins, you're just going to slowly waste away in your sins in your oppressor's land. So your oppressor will take advantage of you, and you will continue to feed it. You won't really stand up together. So I'll just end there. I really think that the music right now is a byproduct of both of them things being a perfect marriage. Their evil design toward us and our evil self-sabotage. What else?
Wow. But before I let you end it, I think I'm going to cut that out and just do that. Just that one little piece. I'm going to make a video off of that in itself. But can you answer the question that's on the floor right now real quick, Zadok? And then we're going to go to Stanley. Can you see it?
Oh, from the bottom fitness. Yes, it says, do y'all think it's a systemic type of agenda to influence the Black youth or the youth as a whole? Well, I think, unfortunately, people, Adolf Hitler was crazy, but one thing he knew is, you know how it done took over this country? He said, because the way that you raise the children is what will further the next generation. And at the end of the day, brother, it is a systemic type of agenda, but this is what it is. Some people think it's only to destroy us in the sense of like, get rid of us. No, we ain't went nowhere. The destruction is to make us the real examples of what this culture represents. Black people are the most American Americans in America.
That's a bar.
And the result of capitalism, which is The goal to individualize the person and to cause you to pursue yourself.
Mhm.
And to actually establish and plant your own flag and to chase wealth. Oh, yeah, that's the agenda. See, we think it's just about us. No, it's about all of them. But as my brother like to say, when America catch a cold, the black community get the flu.
I would like
Mm.
to add to that, but just to kind of offer a separate or different perspective about the systemic issue, I think if I were just to give an assessment of where I think these young people are, I do believe that they're being targeted. I do believe that there's a systemic agenda to influence them. However, I think the young people in this country are sick and tired already of the system. I believe that they are not as easy to be indoctrinated. I think they have remnants of righteousness in their DNA. I think because they see straight through the BS of the American way, they see that we're still not benefiting from our way of life. For example, these young people are known for not wanting to go and get a job at somebody else's company or corporation. I think that is an amazing characteristic of the youth. Their character. It says a lot about them that they would rather go out here either be broke or hustle or roommate with each other, sell water on the street before they want to go get a job and work for to make somebody else rich. That is amazing because these kids grew up watching their children, I mean, watching their parents working their butts off at somebody's corporation, but they are looking at that and it's not making sense. They're going to get these jobs and they're looking like, why am I here? What purpose am I serving? What am I doing? I believe these children are looking for purpose. I believe what they're looking for is something that's going to make them feel good and sleep at night and feel that they are being useful. And so, what I will say is that even though they are being targeted, I believe that these children are just as powered up. They are full of our ancestral spirit, they are full of ancestral power and history. I believe that they are going to show us a way because the Bible also speaks about that, that out of the mouths of babes, we might find salvation and righteousness and some sense of direction because these children, they're not like us. They're not afraid. These children are bucking and I'm so happy to see it. You know, they're not trying to go to college. They like, I could, my phone is college, YouTube is college. What you mean? I'm not spending all that money getting in debt so I can get out of here and go to work like y'all. No, I'm good. I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
creator.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a
That's right.
creator.
yeah, the generation that's coming up now is
They not
definitely got
having
a
it.
different mindset. But let me get to
Yeah.
Stanley and Kevin
Mhm.
because they've been kind of quiet for a little bit. Stanley, you want to talk about what the title is of the room, and then also if you want to address anything that the sisters and the brothers said, this is your time.
Oh, it's again. Thank you again once again for inviting me. About the topic, I agree that there definitely is an influence. I believe that hip hop and the industry definitely is a tool, is a tool for those to reach generally our particular community. When I say our, I mean the Black community. And in utilizing this tool, um, of course, money's involved, funding, and when I realize how much money the Black community offers society, and they realize that, they take advantage of this. But not to educate us so that we can be lifting up ourselves, but that they can suck from us. So it's sad that they're using something that we, I guess, that is very dear to us, and they're utilizing it for their benefit. It's a business, it's capitalism. Yes, you do what you got to do as a capitalist, but I think there got to be something within us for us to at least seek to see what's happening and to teach the youth what's going on so that they can prepare, so that The next, I guess, set of generation would be a little bit more ready and not get caught up with this nonsense. And a lot of our young people today, it's unfortunate when I speak to them, they don't. A lot of them don't care about reading, but they love music. They love rap music, hip hop music. They know all that stuff by heart. I used to always hear, "How come my grandmother always say, how you know all this music by heart, but you don't know your homework?"
I
I don't
think
know
that
if
was
you.
said to me too.
Oh my goodness! But that's the thing. I think that generally Black people are filled with spirit and rhythm. Music is part of who we are, and because it becomes culture, it comes into our movies, it comes into our rap videos, and all these things. I was listening to KRS-One, and he said hip hop is not music. He said rap is music. Hip hop is a way of life. Rap is what we do. And I'm like, okay, so hip hop is more culture. It's about your clothing. It's about how you walk. It's about how you say particular words. It's how you speak to one another. It's how you call one another. That's what hip hop is. The music is only an element of what hip hop is. It utilizes music, but it's not all music. If you think about it, Mary J. Blige is not a rapper, but she's the queen of hip hop soul. So hip hop is not limited to rap. You know what I mean? So hip hop comes in multiple ways. Hip hop also include movies. It produces movies, and when we watch these movies, a lot of times we look at these individuals when they actually promoting criminalization. Unfortunately, we see them as heroes. We see that as cool. We see that as what it means to be a man. And when you see these situations are happening, this is where it could really hurt our culture. It hurt our culture as a people, and they exploit that. But you see these capitalists up there in the top, they don't care about what the demise is and what the outcome is going to be. As long as they get their bottom line, they're good. But I think it's time for us to wake up and see what's and how to we should utilize it for our benefit as opposed to our curse.
Exactly. Thank you, Stanley. I'm glad that you shared that because again, this is the same thing I think Reese was saying earlier, and I had some information I'm going to bring out. But before I do that, I want to hear what Kevin had to say. You've been a little quiet. I want to know you want to add to the conversation.
Can I interject after Kevin, please, sister? After he's done,
Yes, you
just real
can. You
quick.
can get in there. Can you hear? I think you're muted, Kevin. There, now you're good.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're in the building. You want to answer
Oh,
the
okay,
room, and you want to add anything to what everyone's been saying, and then we're going to get BA.
cool. First of all, Christina, me and you gonna talk because you got me following up these brothers, and we gonna talk, okay? I don't want to follow up these brothers. You got PA and say that I can't follow up that. But what I
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
anyway,
I
but I
believe in
will
you,
say,
brother. I believe in you.
yeah, we'll talk. Anyway,
You don't see I'm
I,
quiet. I ain't got nothing to say.
anyway, I am in my late 40s. I do kind of definitely respond to what Zadok was saying. When I first heard, like, African Bambaataa, a Coop Herc, and people like that, I didn't think women in G string. What I heard was music and something that related to me. I didn't have to have a woman dancing around and exploiting her to make me feel like what I was hearing connected with me. So when I see how this generation has evolved and what I'm seeing now, even in the lyrics, I mean, like lyrically, these brothers ain't even saying much. They mumbling half the time. Like these lyrics are terrible. But what they're exploiting in our generation is how they're making money. And what they're doing is they're using our youth. They're using our talent. Because one thing I will say about America, I can't speak for other countries, but I will say this about America. They use black people and their talent to make money. This is how Nike became huge. This is how a lot of different companies became huge because of what they were able to get off a bus in terms of commercializing and getting things out there. But when I go way back, like Stanley mentioned, KRS One, That's one. So here's another one, BDP. I didn't really remember like listen to BDP Kara. Like, oh man, and they didn't need a woman half naked to sell their music to me. I didn't need that when I listened to them. It was the beat, it was the lyric, it was the content of what they were saying, and how it related to me as a young, a very young black male at the time. So what they're doing now, the way they are using us, they're actually deteriorating our own. They're deteriorating us and making money off of us as a deteriorating our community. And we're buying into it to make a dollar. What I say by that, I'm talking about other rappers. Their lyrics are not strong. They're not really talking about anything. It's all about the dollar. And when I heard Zayda, I heard Zayda. I'm like, man, this brother is cold, and he's not talking about anything, like that's crazy like that. I never heard of him. I didn't hear Zayda until I started listening to Debate Talk for You. Same thing with Brother BA. These brothers lyrically is just as strong as what at the time when I first heard them, they was just as strong as any other lyricist I've heard. Yet I never heard of them until I heard Debate Talk for You. This is years ago. Fast forward to now, you got people like Sister Risa, Sister Risa said. There are people that out there that do have a very good message, but we don't hear from them. Why is that? So my thing is, I don't know how we can. What's the true answer in terms of getting people out there that support us as a community and that can strengthen us without exploiting women. There are artists out there that are very talented that ain't talking about none of that, but we don't hear from them. And I think to me that helps weaken us as a community. But other communities and other races are making money off of us deteriorating ourselves. We're doing it ourselves. So I mean, I think it comes from within, and I think a lot of people really need to pay attention to what we are plugging into. What are our children plugging into? I got a 6-year-old. You know what I'm saying? What is he plugging into? What is making him listen to music a certain type of way? What is what he's hearing and seeing connected to him? Because for me, when I was younger, I didn't need to see a female exploited to like certain music. So that's all I got for right now. I'll let our brother PA take over.
Yeah, and then after that, you guys, the floor can be open. You guys can chime on in, let BA go, and then definitely I know Zadok, he's doing that thing like he got something in there cooking in his mind. I can see it. It's coming out. So y'all, the floor is open, BA, because we're gonna get to the PowerPoint a little bit later, but for now the floor is open. So BA, go ahead and everybody just chime on in there.
The question that the brother from the bottom fitness had asked is an agenda. I believe it is an agenda because the bourgeois, those who are empowered, they're very crafty, they're very wise. Like it's saying in the scripture, the children of the wicked or the children of the evil or Satan are very wise, very crafty. What has been powerful about a lot of pro-black movements back in the day? The youth. Go back and do your history. The civil rights movement. What made it so prevalent? The youth got active and they were involved. But let's go back before then. The Garveyites, Marcus Garvey, he had a lot of young people involved, getting active, standing up. And now, even go forward, go look forward. Go forward. The Black Panthers. What made the Panthers so prevalent? Youth. Mumia Abu-Jamal was a Panther at the age of 16 years old. Young black people, young black and brown people who were active, who witnessed the injustice. They stood up and they fought. So those empowered are very crafty. They understand that. So now, what do they do now? Our market is the youth. Let's use them to create a new movement on how to defile themselves. If we get their mind with the cars, the women twerking and doing all this, the jewelry, all that. Hip hop is no longer the voice of the voiceless. I heard Professor Griff say about maybe 10, maybe 15 years ago, he said hip hop stands for high infinite power, healing our people. You also have some people that would say high infinite power, healing oppressed people. That's what hip hop really means. It's high infinite power, healing oppressed or healing our people. Just wanted to share that real quick.
I have a question about something you're saying real quick. I want to ask because I asked Reese this as well. And I'm going to ask you the same question. I talked to her last week. We were talking privately. Why is it when you look at a lot of these artists that the music that you're talking about, most of their fan base, believe it or not, going to their concerts, buying their music, downloading it, it's not people that look like them. When you look at some of their shows, they don't look like them. It's look at their shows. Why is it that the non-melanin little boy is not running around mimicking these things, but our young brothers and sisters are mimicking it? I mean, they're watching the same thing we're watching, aren't they? Why are they not copying it? Why are they not doing that?
Well, it goes back in time. You know, a lot of, and this is not nothing against white people. This is just something that has stood out. This is just something that stands out. A lot of white people at that time back then, they enjoyed watching us acting like a bunch of fools, cooning and dancing. It was entertainment to them. Something to see, something to watch. Even to this day, it looks good on the videos. It's entertainment. But when it comes to our people, we've been disadvantaged and disenfranchised for so damn long. What's common for our people? To be impoverished, to not have much. So what's the next best thing? When I get a little bit of money, I'm finna floss, I'm finna cat off. Like I got 9 lives. So that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Our people, we're going to take it much more serious because we come from disenfranchised communities. So we get a little bit of money, we get a little fame, a little bit of the camera, and oh man, I got to, oh man. But we don't realize that we're part of a game. We don't realize that we're part of the bourgeois social science experiment. That's all it is. And it's unfortunate that our youth, our young people of this generation, you have a lot of them, like Reese pointed out, a lot of them are rebelling, but do they know how to? And what's unfortunate, the elders, there's some type of disconnect because a lot of our elders are not coming back and talking to the kids. But at the same time, the kids don't want to hear nothing the elders got to say. So both sides want to do something, but I believe both sides don't know how to go about it. And with that,
I'd also like to say,
go ahead, sis.
Okay, yeah, quickly, I think they mimic what they hear in our music. However, they are in control of the media. So they're not broadcasting it on the Channel 5 News like they do us when we do it. It's just unseen. But they're little girls growing up, getting pregnant at 13. They're single mothers, divorcees, just like we are, broken homes, alcoholics, drug addicts, just like we are. They just don't put it on the news. We are the main event. They want us to see ourselves like that and not them. But if you go to any hick town in Ohio or Tennessee or anywhere else, you're going to see, even in, I think there was a place in Pennsylvania where they have a whole entire community. And this is the reason why they changed the branding for crackheads. Now it's an opioid epidemic. It's not a crack epidemic. It's an opioid problem or opioid sickness or illness instead of a crackhead or a crack epidemic. Same problem. Different branding, different marketing. That's all it is. And so I yield to that.
I think that's right. And I think, you know, it's like when you look at abortion statistics or welfare. 63% of welfare recipients in the United States are Caucasian. And the majority of them are farmers.
And I'll talk about that.
The majority of them are farmers. That's why SNAP benefits every year are connected to the Farm Bill. Mm-hmm. Because they have to, they have to supplement farmers, in the non-growing season, and a big number of farmers kind of break even. And so, like in the farm community, they try to strengthen them with a food resource, because a lot of farmers kind of felt, and these are white farmers, if they dome themselves off in the head, then their family can get out of debt by taking the insurance money, burying them, and get out of poverty and sell the farm off. And that's a shame. But many of us don't know that. But in the 80s, when Ronald Reagan, in the so-called war on drugs that his wife with her Just Say No campaign put out there, it would be made to seem as if Black women were the high proponents of why welfare spending was out of control, because he coined the phrase the welfare queen, and painted the idea of Black women who use the system and they really, this, that, and the third. But the majority of welfare recipients ever since it was created have been white Americans. In abortions, more white women have abortions in America every year than Black women. But see, when you have 26 million, 27 million Black women and 1 million abortions happen, that's like a 5% death rate in a per capita sense. But when there are 89 million white women alone double the total amount of Black people. When they have 1.5 million abortions, you haven't even hit the 10th of the decimal of how it affects them. So when the same evil is done among everyone, there is a reason that it affects us so bad. It's because of the disenfranchisement and some of the self-inflicted wounds in our community. So I'll give you an example. What you just said was paramount. But why won't LeBron, white children, yes. But why won't LeBron James' sons more than likely fall to the streets? It's highly likely. They probably listen to the same music. As a matter of fact, their dad, one of the biggest faces in the world, who is damn near a billionaire himself, as an NBA player. I'm from Buffalo, New York. Griselda is one of the biggest underground hip hop movements. So when LeBron James is sitting in Costa Rica on the beach and he reposts saying how hard Benny the Butcher is, why don't nobody see that as a negative? When someone like Shaq he got children, and Shaq is putting all his children and even his nieces and nephews through college, they're entertained by the same music. They watch the same movies. But why, when they get offline, won't the outcomes possibly be the same as it might be when my nieces and nephews are exposed to the same thing? It's because when they get offline, the reality of their neighborhoods and the reality of their home situation, their family dysfunction versus the family dysfunction of the wealthy. It's dysfunction there. Don't get it twisted that just because you go to a neighborhood where the median income is $170,000 a year with big homes and manicured lawns and quiet streets, that sin isn't there. No, sin is there. But why aren't the outcomes the same? It's because the reality of what it takes to keep the family narrative together, it just affects us more. Remember I said before I got off that when America catches a cold, the Black community get the flu?
Yeah.
Why? They doing the same evil we do. But God told us that this would happen to us. In Proverbs chapter 30, there's actually a text that claims that there's a generation that curse their father and doesn't bless their mother. There's a generation that's pure in their own eyes, and yet they're not clean from their filthiness. And there's a generation who got teeth like swords, and their jaws hold teeth like knives, and they devour the poor and the needy from among men. So it's one thing that the systemic oppression hurts us. But Solomon said the poor that oppress the poor is like a sweeping hurricane that leaves no food in the field. So this is the thing. We're carrying out the same evil. These people aren't better than us. But why are we so more heavily affected? Because you ain't never seen a military invade a country and say, let us turn around and retreat, because look at all these women and these children who's standing out here to fight against us. They feel our men have already been conquered in our sin, and now they're after our sisters. And when many of our sisters who have been left, when a black woman, and this thing ain't all black women, but when a high percentile of our black sisters, they grow up in the same environment that their brothers and cousins grow up in. And when their uncles and their fathers have let them down by the lack of loyalty to the family and the mother, the young woman who goes and looks for love and she gets trampled upon, yet she participates in her own destruction because her own lust is still a part of why she's in her situation, then the end result is women who will fight like hell but have no men to point them toward heaven. And so women who aren't meant to hold the bag alone are left to fend for themselves, and in their evil mind figure out how do they best take care of themselves. Men told them, we look at you as sex objects. So now the women, in order to get the money, are willing to give themselves up as sex objects in order to attain the same kind of wealth that they see men do through evil, which is the glorification of money and fornication and drug dealing. And the last thing I'll say is this: when I came in, I heard one of the brothers talking about the porn industry and its effect on America. Y'all know who control the porn industry? White women. Y'all know who gonna control the music industry with imagery because they've been shown the American way? Black women, using the same thing they saw white women, poor white women, use to come up, which is to give themselves as prostitutes on camera. And then when they found out they were the star of the show, the poor white woman who is now a porn star, start to form their own production companies. The Cardi B's and the others of the world, even though we don't like it, I'm telling y'all, they're doing the same thing. But the harm it's going to do to our community is going to outweigh the harm that white women are doing to their community doing the same thing, because our numbers are smaller and because we don't have the same kind of leadership in the community. When bro named the Garveyites and when he named the Black Panthers and when he named the civil rights, those young black people listened to the clarion call of older black leaders. Who is our older black leaders? So like sis said, that rebellious, we got to do it ourselves energy that's in our young people now is going to manifest itself in a sense of success material wise, but in not necessarily the equality of moral success, because their leadership has been lacking. They're going to survive and live regardless, but what is it going to produce? What generation are they going to produce after this? Our daughters now who watch Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, what are they looking to become? And I don't blame it all on Cardi B and them, but something got to change.
All right, Stanley, Kevin, y'all want to speak on that? And we're going to get to the PowerPoint. Reese, I want you to speak too on that. And we're going to get to the PowerPoint. I got some questions for you guys tonight.
Oh, I have nothing else to say after that.
I know. He said it all.
He
and he broke it down too. Do you see this?
Yeah.
You see the comment what he put, Zayda?
Huh?
Said I have two black little girls and I see them putting a lot of this music in cartoons and influencing their minds with this.
Hey, I'm watching the NFL playoffs this afternoon. Every time they go to commercial and come back, they got a hip hop beat. You know, you ain't even got to hear the song. Just the bop of it now is influencing people, man. And we can use it to our advantage if we can just kind of come together and really have a plan.
Yeah, that's part of that. Was exactly what I said. Exactly. Yeah, what you're saying, Kevin?
No, that was me, Stanley. I was saying what he just said. That's exactly. If we just use it for our benefit, and because we already doing it, we just got to do it for what we want, as opposed to doing it to support what they up there want. They got what they want already. They had it for too long now, but it's time for us to get what we're going to use it that we can use. We're going to use what we know how to use well, but for our benefit. So we don't have to learn how to create the new wheel now. It's already been turning. We just got to turn it to our favor.
Exactly. You want to answer that question, Kevin? That's on the screen. It says how can you see it? How can I guide them the right way without watching every second and watching everything and being on them too much?
Right. I think
little girls.
Yeah, that is a very, very tough thing because really it comes. I don't know how old these girls are, but when you have girls, I mean, again, I don't know how old they are. You have to truly monitor what their intake. You know what I mean? You got to just really be on top of everything that they consume because, like Zedek said, and I'm watching the NFL playoffs too. Every single thing that I see, hip hop beats. Everything is generated, and how they generate money is based off kind of how we do things. They look at our culture as the cool thing to sell, right? But if I had girls, man, I mean, I would be on top of every single thing that they watch because let's be honest, if
Yeah.
you take let's combine them both. If you combine what Zedok just said, the industry, how it works. If America understands how to sell something, right? And we've learned this from Nike. Nike, Spike Lee, what they use. They use this. These are black people they use to build Jordan. This built Jordan. What did they build it on top of? Hip hop. New York at the time and New York's music with Spike Lee. That was on top of the game at the time that Jordan was out. He was in Chicago, right? So if you add women and exploiting them on top of hip hop beats, you're gonna sell regardless. It doesn't matter what the color of the person listening to it is. Like you said earlier, Christina, you have people that go to shows. You go to some of their shows, and most of the people that are in their show, that the audience is not the same color as the people that's on the stage. That's telling me something. We use as props. Our young black females, they're props. They're commercialized props to gain money. That's
Mm.
what's cool. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a true answer to that brother's question with the girls because we have so much access to everything, phones, TV, commercials, cartoons. Like he said himself, you got cartoons that's adding these beats and so many different colored people into what they're actually putting out in cartoons. So it goes a little bit higher than what the parents can do. It's about what we can stop them from consuming. They're going to continue to make it. No one's going to stop these people from making these type of cartoons and these type of music. It's about what we can actually control as a community and as parents. That's really a tough answer. I don't truly have the answer for
I can
Mm.
I can add
Yeah,
something
Reese.
to
Yeah.
answer. Um, a couple of things because I think a lot of us have these challenges about how are we going to get from under this. So to if I had daughters, I mean I do have a son. I don't have any daughters yet, but there's power in conviction. Um, when I was a child, I was always aware, and I didn't have a super religious mother or a super, spiritual mom. But what she did was she usually appealed to my common sense, and my mother had a way of parenting by conviction. And I think what we should do with our consumerism, when it comes to the music and just the things that are being pushed out here, we have to first of all remember nothing is censored anymore. There was a time when you turn on the radio and everything would be bleeped out. Nowadays, ain't no bleeping out nothing. They're not bleeping out anything. Your children are streaming music, and there's no censorship at all. So I would, for my children,
Wow.
I would let them see it. I would let them be exposed to it. And this is sort of a philosophy I have with my son. I let my son at 6 years old see what is happening in the world. But what my son sees me doing is so much different. And so when he sees that contrast between light and darkness, his mom is a light, a bright, brilliant light. So when he goes out into the world, he's carrying that light with him. He can see all of that. My child looks at the world through my eyes oftentimes. And so when he is looking at TV and he's seeing, yeah, he might pick up a little bit of the worldly ways. He might pick it up a little bit, but when he comes to me and I see it, I always appeal to his common sense. Does that make sense to you? To think that way, to see things in that from that perspective, to act in this manner, does it make sense to you? The outcomes that you're facing if you continue down that road? I expose him. I let him see it. 6 years old. I let him listen. This is the world you live in. I will not shelter you. Because if I do that, and then you get out there and you ain't never seen none of that stuff, you're gonna be just like the doggone Corinthians. I'm not letting my baby turn into no doggone heathen. No, you're not. No, you're gonna see it. All of the idol gods, all of the same-sex marriages, all of the degradation in the community, all of the, the foolery, the unhealthy living and the unclean behavior. I'm gonna let you see it because when you have that exposure and your child goes out there, I can use myself as an example. My mom did not shield me. Well, a little bit. Like my mother didn't let me see outright nasty, raunchy, vulgar, things on TV. Like if somebody was just having outright sex on TV, she'd send me into the other room, things like that. But when it came to me being exposed, like I didn't necessarily get shielded from my family smoking weed and listening to rap music and doing what they was doing. My mother just, I guess, knew that I didn't take interest in it because honestly, I didn't understand it. And so with your daughters, I think it's best to reteach them. Whenever your children go out into the world is their teacher. But when they come back home under your guidance and under your teaching, that is your job to let those young ladies know what they just went out there and witnessed.
Exactly.
What did you just see? When you see that behavior, you see your daughter, she might try to get in a video and pop a little something. Listen, I know you probably just seen that when you went out there, but guess why that young lady is on that video doing that? She probably is unloved. Do you feel unloved? She's probably insecure. Do you feel like you're not good enough? You're teaching your children by appealing to these children are not stupid. They're not dumb by any measure. So respect your daughter's integrity and respect their sense of consciousness and respect the fact that they are humans and that they have the ability to reason. One thing I love about humanity is that the brain that we operate with is a quantum computing device. This is something that billionaires are trying to mimic in the technology space right now, something that we do naturally. Quantum computing ability allows you to see the black, the white, and every color in between. It's a fractal reality that we live in. So what your child is doing is considering angles. When your daughters are seeing how these women are acting, they're positioning themselves inside of this. Where do I fit on this spectrum? Am I the black? Am I the white? Am I the purple, the pink? Where am I? What color am I? And so your job as a parent, I believe, is to help them to see their own light, their own colors, their own personality, their own character. How do you want the world to see you, girl? When you go out here, do you want them to see all your business floating around on TV? Do you want to get on TV and see this? You let your friends at school or your teachers see you with all your butt cheeks hanging out. When I was young, I never did nothing like that because I had too much respect for myself. I'll never forget when I was in high school, the boys used to get mad at me because I wouldn't let them. They wasn't touching or seeing nothing. One dude told me I was stingy.
No,
He said, "Why you being so stingy with it?" I was like, "Well, whatever you want to call it is what it is."
Everybody else is probably, giving it up. But I take that I adopt that, and I didn't originally do it when you were saying like, let these kids know what's going on. I might personally myself, I thought shelter, shield them, don't see nothing. But it was my husband, and it was through our Bible studies. Like some things in our Bible studies we would have on Saturdays. I was like, we can't have that study with them. And he's like, why not? Why not?
Right.
Why can't we?
Yeah.
And I thought, but I think they're too little. But now as they grown older and I see how much they implement in their everyday life and how they're very fluent when speaking about it. Like my 6-year-old, she'll say things like, I can't wear this. My skin will be showing. People will look at me and sexualize me and think that I'm something that I'm not. Like I'm not putting that on.
My
And she's 6 years old.
My baby got mad at me because I went to the store in my pajamas. And I said, excuse me, my pajamas match the top and the bottom. What you talking about? My pajamas match. Don't get mad at me. He cares about things. And the children, mostly the time they do, they care. And one thing I was going to say also, sir, about your daughters, make sure that they have a healthy fear of certain things. And I'm saying this from my own experience, what helped me as a young lady to keep myself together when it came to sexuality. When I was in school, I had a very healthy fear of rumors being started about me. I would witness my sisters, just my peers, having the boys around the school talking all kinds of nastiness about them, and how this one hit it the other day, and how that one had her like this in the bathroom, and how, man, when I would hear them rumors going around, I was like, oh, y'all will never have that kind of ammunition about Sharice Latoya Muse. You won't do it. You will never be able to tell your friends about what you did to me in the basement, on the floor, in your mama house. And also, I had a healthy fear of being walked in on. I never had sex in high school. I saw girls getting pregnant. I was scared of all of that. Your mama was not about to come in on us doing nothing. I'm not your grandma. I'm not doing that. I'm a respectable young lady. I'm not gonna have your mama kicking me out her house naked,
But
walking down the
Reese,
street.
I want to point out real quick,
Mhm.
when you look at how the music has evolved, since that's what we're talking about, think about what you were saying. If you look at some of these artists today, they're still in middle school, high school ages, and
Mhm.
they're actually wearing and dressing and talking about these type of things,
Mhm.
and they're making it look glorified. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll be in the bathroom, I'll be in the stall. It's
Right. That's
good.
why I
It's
say I think our
nice.
parents have to make it a healthy fear, because
Exactly.
society is teaching them that it is cool. So, that's why I say I think we should appeal to our children's senses and have them to look at reality for what it is. Because I ask my son all the time, "Does that make sense to you?" Like when we see two men kissing on the screen, and I held up a socket, the plug, and I said, "Sonny," I said, "Do you
That
want me
don't
to
go.
stick this into another
That light
plug?
not gonna work.
It's not gonna work, baby.
That light not gonna
You
work.
know that light ain't gonna work, honey. You try to plug that into a plug into another plug. Try it and see what happens.
Yeah, it's not gonna
You're
work.
gonna be back in the dark ages, honey. You need a male and a
Exactly.
female component to give life. And if it don't
Exactly.
make sense on a simple level, eventually on that if elevated level, he gonna be like, oh, no, 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 that's not for me. I need to have.
Well,
I need life.
exactly. Well, I'm glad that you got your son thinking. Now I'm gonna get you guys thinking. So
Mhm.
can you guys all see the PowerPoint real
Yeah.
quick? I got some questions for you guys. Some questions. So this is it. It's titled what you see on the YouTube channel, the rap industry effects on women. So I'm pointing out a few things, and I want you guys at least 2 minutes each. Just go through the questions. We'll start with BA first, and then just go down from there.
Hey
So the
sis,
first,
hey
let
sis,
me
can you
take
take
off.
the can
Yeah,
you
I'm
take the
taking it off.
comment?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm trying to do it right now.
Okay.
How do I get rid of the comments? Your girl is new at this.
Just touch the comment, press it again itself. Yep.
Perfect. All right. Okay. So as you guys can see here, I got two examples. Now I know Zadok and BA. I don't know you, Reese, if you recognize any of these female rappers on the for the 1980s, but I know BA and Zadok, you guys should recognize some of them. So these are rappers, female rappers in the 1980s, and these are our female rappers now in 2022. So here's the question: has females rappers become more sexualized, and why? So BA, you got 2 minutes. Have female rappers become more sexualized, and why?
Reason why female
Or
rappers have
sexual?
become, can you hear me?
I meant to put sexualized, but I put sexual.
It's
Sorry.
all good. No, it's all good. Female artists are more sexualized than ever. It, it's a transition. Like I said, from the 80s and early 90s, you had more righteous sisters who had more integrity about themselves and not necessarily trying to showcase their body. And then as you go to the mid 90s, like maybe from 1994 to like 1998, you got your Foxy Browns, the Little Kims, and various others. And even in the lyrics, the lyrics is crazy because I can remember a lot of old hits from back in the day. Like I remember when Foxy Brown and Jay-Z hooked up for that one track. So, and Little Kim with her explicit lyrics saying things that were not common for most women MCs to say. So, and then as time progressed, you had Trina, there from Trina, various others. And now, when you see the rappers of today, the female MC, or I'm not even gonna say MC because that's an insult to the MCs, female rappers, right? Because an MC is a person who moves the crowd, who motivates and liberates people.
Doesn't it
Rappers,
stand for Master of Ceremonies?
exactly. Rappers are just people who are just sitting there rhyming just for the hell of it, just to be hoping to be heard. And so, and rappers don't really move me. They don't move me. They never have moved me. It's a difference. So that's nothing personal. That's just me personal. My preference is lyricism and MCs. If you're not a lyricist or an MC, none personal, I can't rock with you. It's that simple for me. Um,
Yeah. Now,
but
why? Because you're agreeing, but I want to know why. Why do you think this is happening?
why? Because knowledge and wisdom is not promoted. Being more conscious is not promoted. But what sells? What's quick money? Like it's like the dope game. That $40 come up. That's quick. What sells fast in the rap game? Titties, ass, and everything else. Twerking, bodies, all that. Makeup, long hair, all that. Booties bouncing in front of a camera, that sells. Women talking to call themselves boss chicken or the boss bitch word. All that. That is convenient. That's convenient for the flesh. That sells. That's what's going to be appealing to the viewers. The more viewers, the more opportunities is going to make money. Corporate interests. And with that, I'm done.
So it's about the paper. Kevin, how about you? What do you think about the question on the floor? We want to know: are they being? I meant to say sexualized. For sexual. Are women being sexualized? And if so, why?
But it goes to what I said in the very beginning, but I didn't want to talk about it too much, But basically, it's all about making money. I mentioned this a little bit earlier about how the porno industry, that's one of the most lucrative money making things out there. And when you exposing two things, when you're exposing, in my opinion, the black race is what I think a lot of suburbia think is cool. I'm just gonna be honest. When you're politicizing that, not politicize, but you commercialize that on top of sexuality, that's double. You're getting double that amount. And by the way, I don't know if y'all know this, but there's I mean, again, it's not like a white black thing, but I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm seeing a lot more Caucasian men date black women. I don't know if y'all see it,
It's a
but they've seen
swirl. It's a swirl.
big time. I mean, look at the commercials. I've seen more mixed this wasn't a thing back in Vidac and BA. No, it's Stanley too. Back in the 80s and 90s, I never seen white men in a commercial as their mate with a black woman. I never seen it. I'm sorry, I never seen it. I never seen it. I see it all the time now. So there is a thing now with Caucasian males being attracted to sexual black women. But it's undercover. But how do I know it exists? That's what they're commercializing, right? So to me, sex sells, right? And who sells it better than our black females? I hate to say it, but it's the truth. They know how to do it. They know how to put it out there, and they got the mouth to do it. I'm just being honest with you. When I first heard Lil Kim, I was like, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. And maybe Zadok and BA can help me out here, but I never heard a woman. I mean, I'm talking about the uncut version now. I never heard a woman cut up like that about sex until I heard Lil Kim. I'm like, wait, where did this come from? You know what I'm saying? I was amazed at what I was hearing, and I think that's what made it sell more. I never heard a female lyricist or a female rapper, as BA said, and I agree with him. I never heard a female rapper put that type of music out. Now, when I heard MC Light, I respected that because she could spit. Like, I mean, she did not use her sexuality to sell herself. MC Light to me was a lyricist. She was just as cold as some of the dudes. MC, but when I listened to Little Kim, I'm like, wait a minute. She can, she had bars, but I'm like, wait a minute, what's she saying about herself? It's like, wait a minute, I gotta rewind that. This is back in the tape day. I gotta rewind. I can't. Right, this is back when we had the tape. Like, hold on. Let me rewind what you just said about
Gotta
her
stick the teacher
private
in the
part.
back of it so you can record over if you wanted to.
Wait a minute. This I gotta rewind this on what she just said about her private part. I never heard that. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely again, this is deterioration of our race, in my opinion. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but we're allowing it. We're allowing it. Same thing with drugs. I mean, hey, look, I knew dudes that was very smart in school, but they sold weed on the side. This is back in Chicago. And these dudes like 13, 12, 13 years old. So it's about money. It's about exploitation, but at a higher level. So that's all I gotta say on it. I yield.
All right, Stanley, do you want to take a stab at it? So far, it looks like the stage is pretty much in agreement. It sounds like it's all about the dollar bills.
Pretty much. That's all I probably would add to it. I guess another I guess aspect I can throw in is that words. We have to keep in mind when it comes to words. Words are spiritual. Now, this is a different aspect I'm coming at it. Words are spiritual. If I ask y'all a question, have you ever seen a word before? A lot of you guys would probably say yeah, because if it's written down, you can see it. What if I told you you've never seen a word before? You've never
I could.
seen a word. What
I
you
seen one.
see. Say it again.
I see one through the actions.
What you see is the expression of it. What you see is the principle of it.
Mm.
Because words technically cannot be seen. All these symbols that we put together, we use those symbols to express the idea of words, but words are technically unseen. They're spiritual. They're only seen via principles. So if this principle or spiritual idea is coming into our mind, it causes thoughts. So in other words, somebody can actually take some idea and literally put it into your own head. And when it gets in there, it can start doing something to what's already inside. Words change people. That's the reason why those phone industries where they selling sex and those phones it did well for many years. Call this number, and all they doing is talking to you. You ain't seeing nobody. They just talking to you. But talking, just the words and the tonality of the voice and the expression and how it's expressed can cause physical reaction because words are spiritual. And words can, just like words can uplift, but it can also bring down. It can also arouse. Words are spiritual mechanism, and that's the reason why Jesus is called the Word, because it's what created everything. So words have power. You can use words to change a community. And words can outlive the man.
Mm.
I put my words in video, I put my words on audio, I put my words on paper, and it can immortalize me. I can die physically, but my words can live on. The laws of Moses continue to come in through the pass the New Testament on. And it's still called the Mosaic Law. He's been dead many, many, many centuries, many millennia. And that's the power of words. So a lot of times we have to be careful when we listening to words, what comes into ourselves, because it could cause change. The industry understands that. And that's why they invest in that.
Okay. It's coming together now.
Come on.
Okay. So it's not just about the paper, it's also like the programming, because like you said, the power of words. So therefore, I'm just gonna have them out there dressed in this costume and have them pushing out this poison via words through rap, hip hop, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And now the people are basically influenced by that because of how
And,
powerful words are.
and Sister Christina, the scripture says in Ephesians 6 that we wrestle not against flesh and blood,
Yep.
but against principalities. And it also says against spiritual wickedness in high
In high
places.
places.
What we have to consider is that that guy that you see that's promoting that's promoting this industry and putting in billions of dollars in to change communities' mindset, we're just looking at him, but that's flesh and blood. There's principalities in higher places that much higher than what you're seeing in the physical realm.
Mm.
It's all spiritual at the end of the day.
I got it.
All right, Zadok, it's on you. You wanna we'll do because we still got like 4 or 5 more questions, so let's try to keep it under 2 minutes if possible. The question is yours on the floor.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely become more sexual because our appetites as human beings in a over sexualized society has become more sexual. They're just fulfilling a desire. People, you can't sell what people don't want. So it's not just all on, oh, they're marketing something to us and we ain't never want that. No, you want it.
Yeah.
See, you know, like bro just said, you know, something that people don't know has been big in prisons for years, especially the prisons where they allow you to get certain things from the outside. Audio porn. The porn industry make a whole nother set of money that people don't know about.
I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah. Ask guys who do time in the feds. Audio porn, where you can actually get audio now with technology. They got iPads in most of the jails. So if you got a certain account and you got certain freedoms, you can get porn audioly. Dang. Yeah. But that's been happening. But then another thing is, let's just admit it. Our young men and women love the sexuality of the men and women of this generation the same way that my generation and the girls from my generation love listening to Jodeci. Let's just be real about that.
Sure.
Loved listening to R. Kelly. A lot of people, children now were born to the songs of Kels. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really different. It's just becoming more heightened. And when I look at this picture you got up here, sis, this is interesting to me because I don't recognize every single person, but I do recognize Shantae, Light. I think that could be Latifah, and I think 3 of those girls might be the group JJ Fad, possibly. And then I look over here to 2023, and I look at these young women, and a big difference I see. Do y'all know why most of them have those big bangle earrings in their ears in the 80s? And look at the hairstyles with the bangs. Y'all know that they were trying to, that hairstyle was called the Nefertiti.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. And when you had brothers at that time wearing the box like Big Daddy Kane and others, that was because of the look of the crown of pharaohs. So once again, the message, even though, hey, you know, some people may not like that, it wasn't like Bible based, but it wasn't really about that. It was about using something that was ancient and black to say to black people, you come from something like this. Our people come from a people who long ago had sway in the earth. You were kings, you were queens. These black women that y'all see in the 80s, y'all, they're wearing those earrings because of the images of Nefertiti and Hatshepsut. That's just what it is. That's what Public Enemy, KRS-One, Brand Nubian, and guys like them were pushing, the African woman. Back then, y'all, even in school, we was wearing African medallions in the late 80s and the early 90s. That's what we was doing. Now, when you look over here, you know what this image is? That's the Barbie doll. And that's why all of these women refer to themselves as dolls. Now, for those of y'all who listen to the American media in the late 90s when they were getting on Muslim countries for banning the Barbie doll, they probably were on to something. Because back now, women call themselves now being dolled up. Yep. That's what they call this look. And when you look at the hair color, It's because of the changeable hair color that came with the black and the white Barbie dolls, and the change of garments and the pushed up breasts. It's the Jessica Rabbit look. So at the end of the day, whether people want to admit it or not, when I lusted over the Little Kim poster in high school because she was squatted down with
The lollipop one? You talking about that lollipop one?
Yeah.
Lollipop.
Yeah, I lusted. And a lot of guys, and she was on the posters. It's the same reason why my sisters and them had LL Cool J Bigger and Deffer album cover with him with no shirt on with the Kango on a wall. It's the same thing. But Biggie told Little Kim she rapped too much like a guy, and men don't want to hear that. Biggie wrote Little Kim's raps. She took over her career when he died. Biggie sexualized Little Kim and pushed her as the female representative for Junior Mafia. Uncle Luke introduced the hypersexualized stripper culture of the South to us up here who never knew what that was. We ain't know nothing about that.
Let me interject for 1 second. You can finish because you just said something about the South, because you know that's where I'm from, South Florida. It was a song I used to dance to, and I'll let you finish real quick. I was like 11, 10 years old, and it was called Pop That Coochie.
Yes.
And I remember doing the dance.
Oh,
yes.
I remember. I was
remember
10,
that
11
song.
years old. I remember.
And I also remember at every black barbecue when that song come on, mamas and daughters dancing to it, unfortunately.
Yes, you did. But you can finish, yeah.
And then MC Hammer, when the West Coast, when we thought it was just gangster from our West Coast brothers and we ain't know what blood and Crip culture was, and we over here dressing in all, we ain't never been to LA and we wearing Raider starter jackets over here because we want to look like the DOC and NWA. And then when MC Hammer dropped, who people didn't consider gangster, but he introduced Oaktown 357 to us, and we saw Angie B and them in them bodysuits dancing around. It changed the way it went from these women, Latifah, all of them, JJ Fad. JJ Fad was the East Coast group. Even when Salt and Pepper had Push It, which was a little sexual, that concept was given to them by Herbie Hancock. I'm telling y'all, there's always a man in the beginning behind artist development telling women that this is what sells. And once women see that it can be successful monetary wise, many of them take over and say, okay, bro, we don't need you no more, homie. We will control the narrative. Why do I need you to be my pimp? Y'all looking at a whole bunch of women who in their own rights could be considered madams. And that's why Nicki Minaj has one of the biggest social media followings. And what are her followers called?
The barbs. Yeah, the barbs. Yeah, that's what she calls them.
So I'm just saying, it's obvious that female rap has become more sexualized, but it's not all their fault. It's men who push the narrative. And once women seen what got it, well, if drug dealing and posing as a gangster who run the street and you'll kill anybody, if that's what's selling for you brothers, and this is what is going to push us over the top, all I can say is, damn, we miss Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, there's no Lauryn Hills no more. I'm going to get to you, Reese, in a minute. But, you know, I seen a video with this brother, and he was complaining, saying that, I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it. But he was saying that he goes to the club, and the women are actually asking for the explicit songs that are calling them out of their name. They're dancing to these songs. And the brothers are getting to the point where they're like, bro, she's just doing the most. But in my mind, I was saying to myself, but wait a minute, you guys have been pushing this poison. Like you said, it's a man behind it. This has been getting pushed for a long time. And now, like you said, I don't need you as my pimp no more. Now I'm just going to do it myself. Now brothers in the background saying, oh man, I don't like this. I don't like this. Well, I mean, this didn't just happen overnight. But Reese, you could address the question and we'll get to the next one after that. The next question.
Absolutely. I'm in agreement 100%. I was just listening to a video with Jaguar Wright. She's a female musician. She makes some waves, but she was saying the same thing about the fact that these women are out here rapping lyrics written by men. And so it's a huge problem because we have men, that masculinity embedded and what should be something of a feminine expression. And so it kind of takes everything off balance. But I want to read something that, I also have been just kind of internalizing the contrast of these two pictures. So this scripture, Ephesians 6, it says, "Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." This is something I think Stanley was just saying. Or yeah, I think it was Stanley that was
Yeah,
just
with
saying.
Stanley.
For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principality. I actually had this printed off on my floor because I had printed it off the other day. So for him to say it, it's kind of ironic, but I want to read the whole thing. It says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand, therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you'll be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one." And so, what this basically says to me is, the difference between these two women is that the female rappers of the 1980s, they had this sort of armor of dignity, of righteousness, this armor of being aware of themselves, being aware of, um, you know, weapons formed against them, things that would not feed their communities, things that would give death instead of life. And so they, in my eyes, they embodied this armor of God, being able to say, um, like Queen Latifah, "Who you calling a bitch?" Who are you talking to? That's not how you getting ready to do me. And that was the energy that these women had. It was, "You're gonna respect me. Look at how they dressed. You can't even see you can't even see a little bit of their breast. You can't
Yeah,
see,
yeah, I was looking at it. I was
they look like
like I don't see.
housewives."
Yeah, I
Hey,
was
man,
It,
seeing
hey,
it.
I like how Reese referenced that track.
She was looking for it.
UNITY.
yeah,
You
you
gotta
and
let
I,
them know.
come
I
on,
saw you in the background. You was banging back there.
for
Hey,
real.
that was fire back in the day. I remember that
It was.
video when she said she pushed dude in the eye.
Yeah. He was like, "No, no, no. They don't come at me like that, because this is not who I am." And I think this is, like I said, a perfect embodiment of this scripture, because these women understood that the culture was being swayed in the wrong direction. And so, your Lauren Hills, they're coming to you and they're asking you, you're getting your hair and nails done by the Koreans and all this other stuff. Lauren Hill, she was trying to appeal to us. She was trying to appeal to the women and saying, who are you becoming? Are you awake at the gate? Are you armored up, sis? What are you doing? Because you got all of these. It says the wiles of the devil is coming at you, baby. You wrestling with your flesh and blood. These young women in the 2023 picture, they don't have on no armor. You can see there are no breastplates. There are
They call that
no
they call Reese. They call that liberation. When
right.
a
And
lot of
this is
women that
this is
dress like this and overweight women like the Lizzos,
yeah,
they say this is them being free. This is
right. But this is
liberation.
this
You're
is the
not gonna
wiles
tell
of the
me
devil.
I can't hang my stuff out.
Right, but this is
I'm
the wiles
liberated.
of the devil. It says you'll be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. It says you need to have a sword against these things. It says being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. These women don't embody that the way our sisters did back then. They don't speak boldly about righteousness and about having a consciousness. What kills me about it is that many of them do not live the life that they talk about, just like a lot of the rappers don't. A lot of the male rappers.
Yeah, well,
A
we're
lot of
gonna
these women ain't out there giving their body up to man after man like they telling these little girls to.
yeah, a
They
lot
at
of them are
home.
married. A lot of them are
Yeah, they
married.
at home, married with children.
A lot of them are
They
married.
I just found out that Jeezy lived in the suburbs. Or was it what was his name? Is it Jeezy or is it Jada Kiss? One of them lived in the suburbs and went to private school. Came from a good home. He was on a pot. I did not know that. These people ain't living like that, but they are not embodying the scripture or even encouraging our children and our young women to take on the whole armor of God as the scripture talks about, so that we can defend ourselves against what is happening when we talk about the wiles of the devil, all of this liberation and all of this, mumbo jumbo about, oh, I'm not gonna let the man define me, and I'm not about to be meek, and you're not gonna shut me up. Like, they don't see the righteousness in modesty. They don't see the righteousness in being conservative. They don't see what end does that help them, because, like in the comment says, it says the women follow the men's lead. What these women in the 2023 picture are not seeing is that if I come out my house dressed like the women in this 1980 picture, what
Mhm.
man is going to appreciate me? What man is going to marry me? What man is going to see me as beautiful? This young woman in the front with the white, she got her hands with her rings and stuff. If a man was to see her today, would he be like, "Oh, sister, you beautiful.
Mhm.
Look at you. You natural. Your skin is glowing. You're melanated. You chocolate sweet thing. Ain't no man gonna no man is checking for neither one of these women today. Not one of them. So we say that we want the modesty in our communities, and we say that we want the women to be all natural, and we say that we want the women to let go of the weaves and stuff. But if the sister come outside looking like this, are you checking for her? Are you treating her well? Are you pampering her? Are you taking her on trips like you doing this one over here? Are you
Mhm.
flying her out? Are you helping her to become educated? Are you investing in her life? Do you know any of her passions? Do you know any of her visions? Do you know anything about this woman? Or do you just want her to drop it like it's hot, bend over this, that, and the other because of your sexual, your sexual quest? So I think in our when we say, why are these women sexualized, what I would ask is, why not? Why would they not be? If they're out here looking for what they want, they're out here searching for what works for them. They're looking to be married. They're looking to be treasured. They're looking to feel beautiful. Social standards say, if you come out the house now, this one, I forget this young girl name with the afro, but she's one of the only ones that will come out the house with her hair like this. But even with some, I feel like there are some girls who can't get their hair to curl up like that. Some young women, their curls don't do that. Some they call them 4C women. Some women just literally got coarse hair. So if she comes out the house natural and her hair doesn't coil up and it's all shiny and all perfect like that, are you going to see her as beautiful? Are you going to see her in her natural element? Are you going to see her for her mind before you go seeking out her physical beauty? This is the reason why I think these women have taken on the image that they have, is because they see results. They see that this man will pamper me. If I tell him I got to get my nails done every 2 weeks and it's going to cost you $150. And yes, I wear wigs. I change my hair daily and that's going to cost you another 200. And yes, I got to go get my body done. I know you like it when I bend over and this, that. So send me to Dr. Miami so I can get the injections and I can get the tucks and the nips and all of this stuff that you like. This is what our leaders in our community are giving these women. They're writing the lyrics. They're putting these images on a pedestal. They are sharing these twerk videos all over their pages. Me or none of the women that I know share twerk videos.
Yeah, none of that over here either. But
I don't share twerk video. But why are they so popular? Because that's what men put on the
yeah,
pedestal. They
they're not.
sharing that
Yeah,
stuff. They
exactly. They're not gonna do it unless they're gonna get a benefit out of it. No
right.
one's out there half naked doing all this stuff unless they're making something out of it.
Exactly. So this
Yeah,
is the reason. Yes, it is more sexual, and that's the reason why. Because that is what is glorified. That's what's getting them the results they're looking for.
exactly. Now you talked about this. So we're gonna let BA address it, and then we'll go down the line. And Kevin Stanley, we still got like I think 4 more questions after this, and we're almost at the 8 o'clock mark. So let's try, y'all.
Okay.
This is some good stuff. I'm loving it. I'm loving it now, but I ain't trying to keep y'all here to midnight.
Okay.
So let's try to keep it. Let's try to keep it in a few minutes if possible. So is NWA? I know you know about NWA. Responsible for hold on, where am I? My screen just blinked out. Can you see it still?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, because my screen just blacked out. I don't know why.
Is NWA responsible for the objectification of women in the hip hop industry? I would say it didn't necessarily. I mean, yeah, NWA, they brought it out mainstream on the big stage because it had a heavy corporation pushing them. But I would say prior to NWA, you may have had a lot of local underground talent out here in California. Because one thing about California, which a lot of people may not be aware of, in California, it's a lot of artists who are independent, who are underground, and who say some crazy, crazy stuff to this day. So prior to NWA, if you go back and do your research, especially out there in SoCal or LA, I'm up north. I'm in Northern Cali. But one thing about it is that you had artists before NWA who was pushing this type of vulgarity towards women. NWA was able to take it to a whole nother level because they had big money pushing it. Because Chuck D said that the counter to Public Enemy was NWA. Because Public Enemy at one time, they were the heavy hitters of the hip hop. They were heavy hitters in the industry. And they did not have to degrade women. They did not have to degrade anyone. They were all about liberation and waking up the minds of people. NWA came and changed the whole perspective and made it marketable. They sold it. You can't sell knowledge to people because everybody don't want to hear knowledge. That's not appealing. That's not attractive. But if you got a few Negroes who say nigga this and F this and F the police, because why? Because at the time, and black folks got a long, bad history with the police. You know what it is. I don't have to speak the specifics. We know what it is. That right there is something that people could relate to. It's not the fact that people couldn't relate to Public Enemy, but NWA was producing something that was not being spoken about. Yeah, people knew about it, but NWA had brought it out publicly, and they brought it out on a mainstream level to where most people can identify with that. And plus, they live in LA, South Central Los Angeles, where it's known to go down with heavy gang banging and big time jail culture and everything else, drug dealing, all that. And the police is doing whatever they can to maintain and stop that, or at the same time, the police is condoning it, or the police is just adding to the violence just as much as the brothers who's adding to the violence. So, and then NWA, here's the name of the song, yada yada is a yada yada. That right there, that is quick to sell. Because what do a lot of young brothers in the hood say? I'm from Southside Sacramento. That's how brothers refer to women. Ho or B-I-T, whatever else. Or Benite or Broad or whatever. We don't ever refer to the young women in the neighborhood where I grew up, Southside Sacramento. It's either the common norm and the common dialogue, and I used to speak it too when I was a young man. I keep it real, but I don't do it no more because I'm a father of daughters. You know what I'm saying? I'd be damned if I let anyone disrespect my daughters or speak to them in that manner. But at one time in my life, I didn't have no respect or no regard for another man's daughter. I used to talk that way. So this was common, and that's the common vernacular and the common type of speech that is spoken on the block. NWA put it out there, which was already happening, but they put it out there and they made it popular. And it's sold.
So you would say no. So your answer would be no. They just made it bigger.
They made it popular. Yeah, they made it bigger because it was already going down before it hit the cameras. It was already going down.
What about the comparisons between the two? When you see in 87, you're saying it was already going down. They just made it bigger. And then you see how many years later, you got Queen Latifah over here saying, who you calling a B? So when I see this, what I see is that women weren't necessarily rocking with this.
No, hey, when that song came out,
now we've accepted it. It's like
exactly. Yeah,
But
when
at the time, we weren't okay with this.
yeah, but when I remember when Unity came out when Queen Latifah dropped that was dope to me. But I didn't see enough people promoting it or pushing it or singing the lyrics. I was always commonly hearing DJ Quick. Hold on, I'm from Northern California. You wanna know who's big up here in Northern California? I'm not that far away from the Bay Area. I ain't that far away from Oakland. Too short.
Oh,
What's Too
yeah,
Short known for? Known for? But yeah, you know what it is.
yeah.
So another person. We call him out here in California. We call him Uncle 40. We call him Unc E40. E40, even though he was not as vogue, he was not as aggressive with calling females the B word, but he had other code words to call them. But we knew what he was talking about. So overall, rap music may not have started it, but rap music plays a big part in promoting it. They played a big part in elevating it and raising it up to a standard that has constantly influencing rappers today. Because there's no type of respect for women. When it comes to our black and brown women, our black women, and our Latino women, they are constantly being disrespected. They're constantly being put on some type of pedestal to where they gotta whore themselves out just to be recognized. And with that, I'm gonna fall back.
Kevin, all right, let's see if you can uh answer the question. And then I want to hear, what do you think about the comparison about women not being okay with this? Like, they actually made a hit single, and I'm pretty sure if we dig deeper, you're gonna probably find even more songs where women were actually trying to combat this. Do you think what do you think about that?
Uh, for me, are you talking about the NWA thing?
Both, yeah. The question at hand, do you believe that it was NWA that objectified women in the hip hop industry, that it was them and they were responsible for creating the monster that you see today? The Cardi B's and the Nickies calling themselves the B's and the H's.
Well, I would say this. I do agree with brother BA. It was already out there, but I do kind of hold them a little bit more responsible because they were bringing a certain type of thing. Period. It wasn't just women. It was about expressing themselves in more of an explicit manner. See, like we hadn't seen anything like NWA before. That's what made them famous, right? So like this their language. Period. I mean, you had like government officials coming up against them. You had like major politicians coming up against them, right? So part of me says no, but part of me says yes because when I heard NWA come out, I can remember like I remember listening to Pete on one hand, and I remember listening to NWA on one hand. I'm like, wait a minute, like PE, what they're talking about ain't nothing like what NWA is talking about. And I think that I do hold NWA a little bit more responsible for that because of, first of all, I think that they knew what they were doing. Hey, look, it's great marketing. Sometimes this is how boxers sell fights, right? Controversy, and that's how they sold their music. So upon that, when you start to add in calling women bees and hoes and stuff like that, I would say yes because they were the biggest group out at the time doing it. So I do kind of hold them responsible for it because I'm looking at more of the fact that, hey, look, they was the biggest thing jumping, not necessarily because of their lyrical prowess. They had great music, but they were doing something slightly different. Their lyrics contain messages that made people be like, "What the heck are they talking about?" They automatically brought controversy, and they added that to their music, and that further sold what they were trying to do. So I mean, yeah, you think you had other people out there doing it, but because the simple fact that they were so boisterous about what they were doing and how they were doing it, me personally, I look at them. Yeah, they were a huge reason as to why they blew up. But I mean, it's called hand the baton. I mean, like, yeah, they started, and now you got this generation still doing it. It's just one baton handed to another. But I mean, they're following suit. They're following what they see another major rap group do to publicize themselves and to become what more famous, what else, make more money. So yeah, that's my answer. I might not be right for everybody on the panel, but That's what I believe.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna get to Zadok, but before we get to you, Zadok, Stanley has to go. He dedicated 2 hours to me, so I love him for that. But the conversation just getting hot. But I want to let him get a few comments in. I want to give him an opportunity just to share anything he wants to share to the people. So Stanley, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, I won't probably give any comments other than that I enjoyed the entire topic tonight. I definitely appreciate you inviting me to share the stage with with greatness, and also they allow me to speak to your wonderful audience that supports you and love you. And so I'm definitely here to support you no matter what.
Thank you.
But unfortunately, duties
Duty
call. My
calls.
children need me.
Duty calls.
Yes, most definitely. My children needs me. And I want everybody to know, continue to support Sister Christina
Oh,
in
thank you.
her ministry. She's a very great wife, a great woman, a woman of God, and just keep following her. Please subscribe to everything that she's doing and be updated with everything. She is constantly going to give you a lot of value. Trust me, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. I thank everybody that was with me on the stage, and I thank everybody that joined in, either doing it live or even if you have to come in because of the recording. Either way, blessings to you all, blessings to your family, your finances, and your relationship. All is well. I love you all. Take care and have a good night.
All right,
You
y'all
too.
tell Stanley good night.
Stanley, good night.
We gonna miss you.
Good night, Elder. Always good to hear you speak.
Salute.
Likewise, likewise.
All right, so the rest of y'all better step it up. All right. All right. I know I'm not paying you guys, but I'm gonna need you guys to step it up. All right. I just lost Stanley. Oh. All right. So Zadok. All right, it's on you.
No, I wouldn't say NWA is responsible for objectification of women because of the time they were in. Excuse me. That song, which is written by Ice Cube. Ice Cube he wasn't really on it like that with women in the context of B then when he wrote this song being used the way it is now. So of course that's a word. It's still offensive sometimes, I guess, but not as much as it was back then. And when you look at the one lyric, right, when he says, now the title B don't apply to all women, but all women have a little B in them. And then when you get to the bottom and he says, taking the women of America, and it starts with the letter B, it makes a girl like that think she better than me. What is he talking about? He's talking about the over-aggressive female who think that she's a male's competition. And so that woman who act a certain way, like if they felt a girl wasn't being submissive, they would call her B. That was a defensive word. It's almost like fighting a woman when you said you got to find something disrespectful. So female dog became the equivalent of, using that language, even though it was still not cool, in my opinion. But that song in particular did have a message to it, even though the language is uncomfortable for most of us. Or at least now, because back then it wasn't, for many of us, to be fair. But it depends. You know what, sis? I really think it probably depends on where you've been in the scale of how you were exposed to music. So for us here on the East Coast, more of us got the idea of objectifying women, like in the context of them being sex objects. NWA talked about stuff, but Too Short and Ice-T did it for us over here. Too Short talked about bottom chicks. He brought pimping into music. It was Too Short. We listened to Short, and Short talked about women. It was always escapades on him being a pimp and pimping women out of their money. And then when Ice-T came out, he gave the pimp vibe, and different from NWA, his album covers always had a ridiculously well-proportioned female or females on the covers, like in bikinis and stuff. And we weren't used to seeing that. And within a year or two of NWA being as popular as they became, once again, we can't underestimate what Uncle Luke did to us in 1990. at the same time. And then, you know, in 92, 93, one of the biggest songs that the East Coast was loving, which took the yo, when Latifah said what she said, y'all know who she was responding to?
Who?
Apache.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Apache dropped an album in 93 and he had a song on the song called I Need a Gangster.
I know that
I need
song.
a gangster beat. Yo, a gangster. And her being a female rapper from New York, she like, yo, who you calling a B? She responded to him, and that song was produced by Q-Tip. So on the East Coast, it could be a little different for us because even though NWA was popular, we being, and I'm from New York, so us being the birthplace of hip hop, we were exposed to everything at the same time. And so I would say I definitely think that NWA helped, but they weren't responsible fully. So I guess my answer would be they were partly.
But I'm gonna go to you, Reese, in a minute. But I want to make sure I understand this right. So are you saying that, not about the question, but are you saying that B, even though no one should call a female that, but B has different definition depending on who's using it, like what area, and then also it has evolved over time into something else? Is that what you were saying, or was I hearing that wrong?
Well, yes, it has evolved into something else because once rap culture took over, many women chose to take that word and use it among themselves. So friends could call each other that, oh, B, you crazy. But then if another woman from outside their circle used it, she's using it to try to get you angry. But when your friend use it, it's different. For some women, as hip hop became more popular and more women got involved and started to speak more gangster, they use B the same way we use
the N-word.
Yes. So for some, that's what that became. And that's why you got these young girls who run around today in packs and you'll hear, oh, B, oh, B. And you think, I remember when I was on a school bus one day and I heard these young women in the back of the bus saying that, sis. I was like, oh, damn, it's about to be a fight. It wasn't. They were chilling.
They was having a good time.
They were having a good time. They were friends. And that's when I first got wind that word, they started to use that way. So it can have negative and positive connotations depending on the audience. But overall, I think that it's definitely a word that's meant to be offensive.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. But the way you broke that down, I guess the evolution of it, I never thought about it like that. I just always looked at it as it's offensive, don't say it. But as you were breaking it down, I realized even within these lyrics, if you look at, and I listened to the whole song, it wasn't so much that he was using it in a way to say, it still was disrespectful, but that's not what he was trying to do. He was trying to point out things that they were going through and how these females were treating them based off of their status, what type of car they were driving, how much money they had. And he's like, yo, so you think you better than me? You be like, you know?
Yeah, so, he meant it to be offensive because that's all you could say. Either you gonna punch her or you gonna use a punch out your lip because this woman is she clowning you. You a nobody to her. So all you could do is respond and call her a B word.
Yeah, and now we done. Well, what were we talking about that Reese about the picture before? We liberated now. I'm gonna call myself a B, and I'm liberated. You're not gonna stop me from doing that. Like, no. But Reese, you want to take a stab at the question? And
I just wanted to say that I don't know if hip hop alone, in general, is responsible for the objectification of women. Because can we please introduce my buddy Rick James into the equation?
Why you gotta say that? I'm from Buffalo. Why you gotta say that? Oh,
because
Rick James was cold. Yeah, he was cold with it, man. Rick James was cold.
Come on, Super Freak. he took it there long before NWA came up out of it.
And Dave Chappelle still continues it too.
Okay, exactly. I don't know if hip hop really was responsible for that. I mean,
she telling the truth.
Yeah,
like a guys lost their candy.
Okay, because we're talking about the Parliament, Funkadelics, all that. Come on, them people was running women like crazy, doing drugs, all kind of foolery going on with them people. That was what, rock music? What was their category? Rock or
yes,
what?
that was rock. And Madonna was the new free rock and roll woman. She was the sex symbol. She was the
Mhm.
free sexual spirit.
Yeah, this started
Yeah.
long before. So I would say that this is more of a generational thing. Maybe NWA of their generation may have been one of the pioneers of evolving the sexualization of women and making it sound different. But did they originate it and are they responsible for it? I wouldn't say so. I would not say so. I would say that they have just been purveyors of a culture, and they have continued to move along what we are now take it like somebody said earlier, passing the torch. We're passing the torch. We're going from one generation to the next, one sound to the next. Next thing you know, it's gonna be just like what's my girl? K Michelle singing country music. Next thing you know, it's gonna sound like country music. Next thing you know, first it was rock, then it's hip hop. Then you got R&B that's raunchy and nasty, singing sexual. Like I said, we're just going passing the buck from one generation to the next, and each generation is doing with it what they want to do with it. So I would say that we have these examples in each generation. Like for me, I was born in '87. So they couldn't have been responsible for my generation's over sexualization because I didn't even know nothing about that stuff really until I got like in high school. It was Juvenile in them for me. Back that thing up and Nelly in them. That was who
You
did
know,
it
I
for
was
me.
watching the video the other day, Reese.
Okay, because I'm
For it
talking
was
about
research purposes.
okay.
People.
Now that,
It was
now that
research. I want to point that out. It was
man,
research purposes.
that's
Okay.
right.
I was going over some
'Cause I'll tell
songs.
you what, I don't
Okay.
care how righteous I
Reese,
am when that song
disclaimer.
come on.
It was. I was
Reese
like,
took me.
it was research. It was
Okay, I
research.
don't care how righteous I am when that song
It was
comes on.
Reese,
research.
I'm
Okay.
gonna do what it
Research.
do.
hey, Reese took me back to 1999, man.
Come on, 1999 to
Back to
2000.
I was
1999.
looking at the video.
Girl,
Man,
you
Guess
you
what
look
I
said
noticed?
good.
juvenile. Back that thing up. Man, that
But
take
guess
me
what I
back to
noticed?
ninth grade.
Okay,
But guess what I noticed about that video, Reese? Guess what I noticed, you guys?
what?
All the women in there were natural.
They were natural.
I mean, they
They
had the
were.
crazy hairstyles. They
Yeah,
started with the
yeah,
big
updos
old
and
thing.
stuff.
They still was doing that, but they were
Mhm.
natural, which goes into the final question. But before I go into that, Reese, I know you said you had to close it out. This is gonna be the last question. We're gonna do closing statements, but I think you said you had to go too, right?
I do. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
close
so
out.
I'm gonna allow
Yeah.
you to. I don't know. You want to answer the question, then do your closing statements.
Oh
Then we'll
yeah,
get the brothers and close it out after that. But
sure.
I pose this question for a reason. Because me personally, the way that I see that women are carrying themselves now, I personally feel like it comes from the transgender. I mean, that's just me. I don't know. When you look at the transgender community, the majority of the people that support them are black females.
Mhm.
And now they're starting to transform into them. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Mhm.
But when you look at the women in the rap industry, like look at the picture. I put born woman and transgender woman. Can you really let's be honest? I mean, I know you could tell, but when you look at the hair and then the fake tops and then the clothes and the colorful and the makeup and the nails, like, can you really, really, if you just glance at it, could you really tell? So, Reese, I'm gonna let you answer that question. You can do your closing statements.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for coming again, and
Yes.
then we'll get the brothers and get the final statements after that.
Okay. So yeah, I think that these I don't know if the female rappers are the cause. What you see is another uh example of women following the lead of men. These women do look like drag queens, but this is a man's interpretation of what a woman looked like. Just like
Mhm.
the rappers in the rap industry, you're hearing lyrics of a man's interpretation of what a woman should sound like. So these are male interpretations of a woman. I'm pretty sure it may have been some men who did these girls' hair and makeup. Men are doing these things now. Men are in hair, nails, um, in the fashion industry, largely with celebrities. You very rarely find a female stylist in the fashion industry. I mean, of course you'll find female hairstylists, but a lot of times there are men too. But yes, they do look a lot like drag queens. But I do believe that this is the reason why they are looking it's so similar. It's because they're taking cues from the men who are the leaders. And I'm gonna tell you something. Most of the time, when black women have their gay friends, those friends usually do have a heavy influence on the women. I know that a lot of gay men love to give advice to their female friends. And I mean, of course, all friends give advice to their friends, but men giving relationship and dating advice to a female, I don't know if that's something that is healthy all the time, because a man dating a man is a whole lot different than a woman dating a man. So for a
Look at
man,
BA. Yeah.
so
He's
you
falling
know,
apart over there.
if you're giving
Why
me
you
dating
scratching? Why you
advice,
scratching, Zayda? What you
right?
scratching for?
I remember, just think about it. If you're a man giving me advice as a woman dating a man, it's a lot different from your perspective, because you look at a man from your perspective as a man. I look at a man from my perspective as a woman, naturally. So you can, I think one thing this man said, it was a Caucasian man of all people, and he had a very good example of why gender matters, and why you cannot go from being a man to a woman just because you identify that way. And he said, a million years from now, they're going to dig up our graves. They're going to look at the bones, the bone structures, and the DNA of the carcasses of the buried bones, and they're going to say this was a male or a female person that was, that was alive in the 2000s. They're not going to say this was a gay male. There's no there. Listen, our DNA speaks for itself. Nature expresses itself without mistake or flaw. And so for us to have these relationships where our men are, or any human, really any human, is identifying as something else in nature, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I would just say that I do think that these women are taking their cues from men. I don't think that the female rappers are influencing the culture as much as the men are. Even when it comes to female fashion, female hair, female, fashion trends, I think the men are still in the lead when it comes to that.
All right, you want to finish out with your closing statements
Oh
and let
yeah,
people know where they can reach you. Thank you so much again, sis. You make
absolutely.
every time you step on the stage, you make such a big difference. Everyone loves to hear what you got to say. I
Mm,
love to hear what you got to say. Even when we talk on our own private time, we could go for
yeah,
hours. You know that.
yeah.
Never stop.
Okay,
We can never stop. So
I love it.
I just want you to share everything with the people so that they can check you out.
Absolutely. I am Reese Roberts. I think I put in the chat my if y'all scroll up, you'll see my
Okay, let me
page,
try to
Entertain
find
the Thought. Uh-huh. Entertain the Thought with Reese Roberts. That's where you can find me on YouTube and also on Spotify. I'm not necessarily active on there yet, but I'm actually going to come back and do a new season pretty soon here. I took a break so that I could do a little bit of personal evolution before I come back. I like to be inspired on this podcast, but there are quite a few episodes there. If you want to take a deep dive, you can hear more about just my perspective and some of the things I say. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm raw. Okay, I don't hold back. I'm not politically correct about anything. So if you're sensitive, you may want to enter at your
discretion, people.
yeah,
Discretion.
enter at your own discretion, okay? Because I'm not coddling. I'm not a politically correct person. I'm not a pacifist. I don't believe in pacifying people for their comfort. I don't do that. So, but if you're okay with that, you'll enjoy the entertain the thought, because that's what I like to do, is provoke thought and sort of open up perspectives to kind of elevate our people. So that's me. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being here with me. I definitely appreciate being able to share the stage with such great thinkers and great speakers. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, and I'll be back. We're gonna be back on Sunday, same time.
That's right, girl. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's talk. Check me out on my Facebook too. But yeah, y'all check my girl out. Y'all say her bye. Say bye, everybody. Say
All
bye.
right, Reese,
All right,
man.
sis. Pleasure to
Good
meet you. I
seeing you
subscribed
again, Reese.
already.
You too. All right, absolutely. And I'll be back. So y'all make sure you hold it down.
All right now.
Most
All
definitely,
right.
most definitely. I'll catch up with you, sis.
Okay, I'm here. My number's still the same. So is my email. So same
Ooh,
number.
she ain't playing. Ooh.
Oh. All right, VA. I'll see y'all.
All right.
Peace.
So, Kevin, we're gonna let you answer that question that we have up top, because we want to talk about how females are looking now. Do you believe that the makeup trends are do you think that it looks kind of dragish, queenish look? And if so, do you think that the regular women that are out here, Walmart, hair stores, that are mimicking these looks, do you believe that they're just getting it from the rappers? I don't hear you. Your mute, your mic is unmuted, but I don't hear you. All right, unmute it again. Now you're unmuted. Speak. Maybe your phone. I don't know. Yeah. Do you guys hear him or is it just me?
Yeah, it could be his internet signal, or he may have to leave and
All
come
right,
back.
leave and come back, and we'll let Zadok tap that question while we're waiting for you, Kevin. Just so leave and come back, and I'll bring you back in. So Zadok, the floor is yours.
There could be some influence, but I would think the influence would come from the female toward the males first, who want to be female-ish. You know, they've always been the over-the-top reenactment of what they get out of females, you know. And you know, at the end of the day, they're dressing like women. So the style and the fashion in the drag community will change as you see the style for women change. But then another thing to consider is that a lot of the fashion that is propagated to females come from European fashion culture, which has a lot of effeminate men over it. So still the direction of fashion is pushed by a lot of effeminate men, almost equally to women. So I would say I definitely can see where the some of the way that these men will take it and be more flamboyant with it. You could definitely see that have an influence on some of these sisters, possibly because of how tight the female, for the most part, has been with the gay community. We live in a generation, sis, where you got a lot of these young sisters, they go hang out at gay clubs.
Yeah.
With their male friends and stuff. And so I definitely can probably be honest and say, I don't know if it would fully come from there, but once you see how they adopt the woman's fashion and dial themselves up extra, I could definitely see where on a reverse, a woman would be like, dang, you look better than me. And now we'll take some of, you know, as far as the way you're dialing yourself up, they can take cues from that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were influenced by it too.
The reason why I came with that question was because I used to work, I live in Broward now. I don't know if you guys know about Florida, but Miami and Broward is like 30 minutes from each other. But I grew up in Miami, and I used to work in an area that was like, it was right in the middle of everything. So you had your South Beach, your downtown, you had your little Haiti hood, your Overtown hood, like everything you could think of was right in the middle. And there used to be this underground, because at this time, this is like 20 years ago, it used to be like an underground drag queen club. And I used to work at night, 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning. So 2, 3 in the morning, I remember all the drag queens on the weekends would come in, and they looked exactly how they look now. The big colorful wigs, the super long nail, the super colorful makeup, the body showing up. And I don't remember women looking like that. We did our thing, but it wasn't as flamboyant. It wasn't as just thrown in your face. But now I feel like the drag queens still look the same way they've been looking from what I remember 20 years ago, but now the females are starting to mimic it. So that's what made me think, and I could be wrong, it just made me think like, why is it 20 years later the drag queens still look the same, but natural females literally are starting to transform to the point where even the surgeries, like you can't even tell. Like it's now it's a normal thing. I hear little girls saying, I can't wait to get my BBL. Like I'm hearing 15, 16-year-old little girls saying this with natural, beautiful bodies. So I don't know. I thought, but I definitely appreciate that. Can I hear you now, Kev? Can you finally be heard? You got to unmute your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you in the building. So yeah, the floor is yours.
Hey, praise God. No, I mean, at least from what I heard, the last thing is it. No, I want to make sure I actually understand the question right too. It says, why do makeup trends for women look so drag queenish? Is that the question?
That's a question. And then the follow-up question is, are female rappers the cause? Because I'm talking about like women that are the trends that you see around, and then women like me we see what beauty is supposed to look like and then we copy it. So do you think female rappers are pushing it, and are they getting it? And do you think it's coming from the transgender side of it?
Well, I mean, I definitely don't think it's because of the men. I think I heard the last sister say that. I can't agree with that. Um, most men that I know who I hung around with, we really didn't like women over flamboyant. And I think that this idea with these I guess men who don't really recognize who and what they are, they're putting out something to represent themselves, right? This is who they are, but again, they are slightly misguided on who they actually are. So I would think how they look and how they perceive themselves to be is going to be different. But I would still say that those same people copy a lot of the women who are famous. They're copying them, but doing it their way. So I mean, you made a point, Christine, that you said you've seen this before. I do remember men being, I would guess what you call a drag queen. I remember them being like flamboyant, but in terms of how they're looking now, I would think they're getting it from the famous female people who are out there now. They're mimicking themselves behind them. They were always flamboyant, yes, but if you look at how they look and you compare that to the female rappers now, they're using their style to represent what they look like. So I mean, for me, I mean, I do
I think
think
it's the
that
other way around.
that's my opinion. I mean, I could be a
Mhm.
100% wrong, but that's what I see because I'm looking at these transgenders as people who are already they're already confused about what they are. So how they perceive themselves is going to always be different than how normal people perceive themselves. And again, I mean, maybe Brother BA or Brother Zayda can tell me differently, but the brothers I was with, we never really liked over flamboyant women. None of us did. None of the dudes I hung out with, like, we didn't like over flamboyant women. We felt like something was really kind of like wrong with them.
But do
You know
you
what I'm saying?
remember? But look back 20 years. I
Right,
want you to think 20 years from now.
right.
Can you recall what a transgender woman would look like?
Yeah, they were super flamboyant, but they were to me they were over the top.
So you
They were
don't you don't see, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's just me because I'm telling you, they used to come into the restaurant 2, 3 in the morning. The big wigs, they had the lashes, they had the long nails, they had the thick makeup to make their cheekbone. That's why that makeup's like that, because they're
mhm,
trying to get rid of that male jaw bone. So
okay.
they create the cheek. I remember seeing it. This is like 20 years ago. So I'm like, I might be wrong. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm
Well,
losing. Or maybe you fellas just weren't paying attention. Maybe
but you know,
No,
y'all
I,
wasn't
I,
paying
I
attention to
clearly was
shit.
not paying attention. Do not know.
right, thank you, BA. I
Yeah.
really was, but I mean, I am from Chicago. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe their look
Remember,
was
this is Miami 20 years ago, and this
right.
is
Sure,
an
sure.
undercover uh club they used to be at. But I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But what you think,
Let,
VA? Maybe I'm just tripping.
let me just say this: drag queen culture, that is very prevalent here in Northern California. I'm not too far away from San Francisco, where it is known for that, or just the Bay Area. Period.
Mhm.
I'm constantly in the Bay Area because of my job and stuff like that. So, to be honest, I ain't looking for no transgenders. I just, if I see them, it's very rare because I'm not looking, and it just happened to pop out the blue. I'm like, oh God, I'm sorry, but my point is that. But I'll get to the topic. When you see these men who are putting on makeup or trying to make themselves out to be women, they have to overdo it because they're men. They have to overdo it because it's already obvious you're a dude. So now the illusion is, no, I'm a girl. So I have to have the flamboyant or the special super type wig. My nails have to be a little extra longer because the mental was already saying I'm a guy, but at the same time, I don't want to be a guy no more. I want to be a woman. So now you have to go over the top just to make yourself to be something that you were originally not to be. I will say that much when it comes to the transgender and the drag queen. I'm not going to dwell too much on that. When it comes to the born women, my issue is this. Look at this. I have no issue with women dressing up and wanting to make themselves look good. I have daughters. I understand it. But one thing about my children, my girls, what I tell them all the time, embrace your natural beauty. Don't be so quick to put all that stuff on your face. Don't be so quick to want to go to someone's house and have them put that crap in your head. See, my oldest daughter, she's graduated from high school, so she's in with the trends because her age, she's 18 now. So I can understand peer pressure.
So I know.
Yeah, peer pressure, all the partners. I mean, yeah, but one thing I do notice about my 18-year-old, yeah, she'll put on a little this, a little that, but she doesn't overly do it because she's already a beautiful young woman to begin with. And see, my oldest daughter, she's dark skinned. And one thing I'm pretty sure we know the disadvantages of dark skinned people.
Versus
people
like
make fun,
light
yeah,
skin.
people make fun of dark skinned people. But
Yeah.
with my oldest daughter, I had from a child, been raising her up ever since she was 5 years old. I had to instill in her, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the complexion of your skin. You are beautiful, and it's more to you than your physicality. You have a mind. You're creative.
Yeah.
See, when we do that to our daughters at a young age, it takes them far. It develops what you're doing overall. You're creating character.
Yeah.
Yes, a part of character, you got to go through your ups and downs. You got to slip and fall on your ass every so often. But when you get up and you learn from the mistakes or the choices you made, that develops character. My youngest daughter, she's they say a high yellow or light skin. You know what I'm saying? And she has this thing about her hair. And I tell her all the time, embrace your natural beauty, your hair.
Yeah.
Not many people are blessed to have your hair. She go to school, people always saying, oh, her hair is heck of this and heck of that. Them little girls is jealous of you because your hair is longer than theirs. And thank the Most High that you're able to have your grandmother and your aunties to help you take care of it.
Know how to
And my
take
daughter,
care of your hair.
exactly. So my daughter, she's going through that stage. She's about to be 12 years old, my youngest. About to be turning 12. She's going through that process to where she got to spend more time on it. Put more time into your hair. Put that effort into it. So you won't have to worry about what people got to say about your hair when they see it in school. Take care of it more, and you ain't gonna have no issues.
But that's a podcast that I want to do in itself. Not to get off track of the show, but I want to point it out because it's important. See, I'm mixed. My father is black and my mom's white. This is not my hair. This is like I sew it in my hair myself. I do that because my hair is actually like 3 different textures. This is the craziest thing. The back is straight, then I don't know what. The middle, I don't even know what that is. Like it gets napped up all the time. I can't control it. And then the front is like super frizzy. So my hair is a hot mess. And I don't know what to do with it half of the time. But I wasn't raised up to know how to take care of my hair. So that goes back to like my daughters. My husband's Haitian. So you can already see the mix. My kids all got different complexions, different hair textures. I had to literally YouTube, Google, talk to other people. How do you maintain this hair? How do you do this? How do you do that? The thing is, I don't think a lot of Black women are taught to even know how to take care of their hair. All they're taught to do is fry it, cover it, chemicalize it, and you're good to go. They haven't been taught how to take care of it. So now they think they have bad hair. Or your hair is good, your hair is bad. Your hair is not bad. It's just that you don't take care of it. If you don't take care of your skin, what's going to happen to it? It's going to look disgusting. You have bumps and blemishes. And what's someone going to say? Oh, you got bad skin. Well, because you just got it? No, because you don't take care of it. So you got to know how to take care of your type of skin. If you got oily skin, you know what to do. If you got dry skin that dry easy, you know what to do. But I feel like the Black community, the women are not taught how to take care of their hair. So I have to constantly teach my daughters. And sometimes it's kind of hard because you see how your daughter talks about her hair and then you tell her about her complexion. Look, you're dark, you're beautiful, right? For me, when you have a daughter that's darker than you, hair is nothing like your hair, and society is pushing, oh, light skin is prettier, your kind of hair is prettier. Now I got to look at my daughter that's darker than me and doesn't have hair like me. And I have to say, look, I know what you're looking at, your mommy, and you're thinking, I want to be like mommy, but no, you're perfect just the way you are. You're beautiful
Exactly.
just the way you are. Like, and it's sometimes it's difficult. They look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you talking about, mommy? I want to look like you. I want to be like you. So it gets a little confusing sometimes. But it wasn't until my husband pointed that out to me, because I didn't even realize that that was an issue. He had to
Mm.
tell me, Christina, stop buying those dolls that look like that. Buy dolls that look like them. Stop having them always watching this type of show. Have them. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for my husband, you guys have no idea. I
Mm.
mean, my children probably would not have the advantages they have today, because it's just things that, and it's not like, I don't want to say I'm just that ignorant, but maybe I am, because if it wasn't for him, I would have just been oblivious to it. I would have no
Mm.
idea that my daughters felt that something was wrong with their complexion because it's darker. I would have no idea they felt like that something's wrong with their hair because it's not like mommy's. I would have never figured that out until he said something to me. But I don't want to sidetrack too much. But
No,
Zadok,
it's cool.
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, well, I have to teach in about 20 minutes, so I have to
Okay. So
go.
yeah, we're gonna close it out anyway. So let's do. Yeah, we needed to do that. So let's just do 2 minutes for
Oh, okay.
everybody. Yeah, to close it out. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what we were supposed to do anyway. We're supposed to actually stop at 8:30.
Well,
So
let me just say this real quick, and I'll let the elder go. Let me just finish up. And the thing is, sisters who I know who are older, who I've talked to over the years, had conversations with, some that I have possibly could have courted. I used to always tell them, "Why are you sitting up here giving yourself a hard time? The standard of beauty is deeper than your physicality. It's the character and the spirit behind it. That's what counts. If we sit here and we push that more often with our young women, I believe it will make a big difference to where when they get an opportunity to be big time movie stars or celebrities, they don't have to overly put all this on, put all that on, because you're hiding the essence of your character. I tell this to plenty of sisters who I come across here locally, out in the community where I live at in Northern California. I tell them all the time, embrace who you are. Beauty is part of who you are. It's your character. There's more than the physical. It's more than the carnal. It is about your spirit and the mindset you have. That's what makes you much more effective as a person. And with that, you go ahead, Elder.
I think you're muted. Okay, you're good now.
So, oh, you got a big question on the screen. Um, I would just like to say that, I think this was a good convo. And it's good to be a part of a convo like this because we all have opinions. And so I think the biggest thing at the end of the day is we're not going to be able to save the world. Even God doesn't promise that he's going to save everyone. But for though many are called, few are chosen. So don't try to save the world. You might want to work on saving your family. Work on saving your children, because what we're talking about at the end of the day is a constant propaganda that's consistent and nonstop. And so if that's the case, unless you're going to be able to make everything in the world stop, what is our propaganda in the home? So when you're home and when you're among family, what is the constant propaganda? As you hear and hear music and see images, whether through video, television, or whatever, that promote fornication and no need to be loyal. Do you find loyalty at home as the antithesis? So even though, hey, because when you have a certain kind of reality, the thing on TV and radio can really be entertainment. And it can have some effect, but may not be as effective if your reality when you turn off the radio, when you turn off the TV is, well, hey, yeah, I can listen to the song and he talk about one night stands. But when I turn that off, my mom and my dad are in love.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that, we see that while we can definitely point out what's wrong in the world, it itself won't change per se. So we have to be more active and purposeful in our own realities to hopefully combat it with not just words, but action. And so I appreciate being a part of this, y'all. Once again, they call me Zadok, the God Hop MC. And you guys can follow me here on YouTube as well. I got music if you like it. But more than that, I'm just about this gospel. And so I do a lot of teaching. As a matter of fact, I got to get off here because my teaching is supposed to start in 20 minutes on my channel. So, sis, I appreciate the invite. Thanks so much. Salute to my bro, BA, Kevin J. It was a pleasure sharing this platform with you guys. And, hey, God willing, I'll get a chance to come on as a guest again.
I hope so, because you just made my day today. Thank you so
That's
much.
what's up.
It's always good to hear your voice, Elder. It's always good to share the panel with you. You know, I consider you a teacher and a brother as well, man. So I deeply love you and appreciate you, Doc. It's always good.
That's reciprocal. Thanks.
And we're gonna miss you, and I hope you come back again.
All right.
Good to hear from you, God Hop.
No doubt, Kevin J. Salute to you, Brody.
My man. Love you.
Y'all.
One more thing. Where are you going to teach at real quick so I can check you out after this? Where are you going to be at?
Oh, my channel, Zadok. Are you just type in Zadok
on
the God
YouTube
Hop
or Clubhouse?
Oh no, it's going to be here on YouTube.
So the name Zadok the God Hop MC. I got your YouTube channel already. So you're going to be on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to check you out after we leave here. All right. Y'all check him out too. Y'all going over there and get edified.
Yeah, come check it out.
Don't get edified by the brother. He make you think. I'm telling y'all. Thank you, Zadok. All right, so Kevin, do you want to close do some closing statements since we're gonna end the show, and then BA will get to you?
You know what? I don't have much of nothing at all. I wanted to say thank you for inviting me out, even though I didn't know I was gonna be on stage with some giants like that. I'll talk to you later about that. But I definitely appreciate. I appreciate being on stage with brother. BA.
You held it down. You held it down.
Man, I can't follow those brothers, but I will tell you this: it was great to be on stage with Brother BJ and Zadok, who I know definitely again a teacher to me as well, because he's a big brother to my teacher. Brother Stanley, I consider a teacher as well. So it was great to be a part of it and just be a part of your show. I didn't want to let you down too. You know what I mean? I had some things going on, but thank you for allowing me to be a part. This is a great topic, and again. Your topics are something that really put a target on our community and how we're failing it. But the thing is, if we can bring a target to how our community is failing, that gives us a better step to how we can kind of cure it and make it better. So what you're doing is great. Since you have a very great gift, and I thank you so much for allowing me to be a part. Thank all the listeners and everybody. I hope that they got a blessing out of this as I have. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Kev. I appreciate you for coming every week. You've been holding it down. You've been holding it down for me. And I know it's not easy for you because I know all you guys got a lives outside of here. So I just want to tell all of you guys thank you and thank you. What is that? Rap Ministry 30711. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you enjoyed the show. I'm glad that you enjoyed the panel. Tell them to come back. Tell them if you like them so they can keep coming back. And thank you so much, Kevin. BA, you want to do some closing statements? Anything you want to wrap up about the show overall?
Sis, thank you for inviting me. I'm glad that you and Sal got a chance to reach out to me and talk. I heard your show a few weeks ago, Debate Talk for You. You know, Debate Talk for You, that's like another home for me. And I don't speak much on various platforms. So I definitely would love to, when I do speak, Debate Talk for You, and Most High willing continue to talk on this platform as well, because not too many other platforms have integrity. The rest of them on YouTube and within the so-called Israelite community is full of ratchetness and mess and garbage. Mm-hmm. And this platform of Debate Talk for You, based on my experience and what I've heard so far from you, you guys are the standard. So there's no niggerism, there's no messiness, there's no drama, there's no character assassinations, there's no insults, no ad homs. This is the place to come and build and connect and edify and learn. Everything else is just niggerized entertainment to me, is useless. And it's unfortunate that the so-called elect, the super ultra religious, loves the drama and don't want to come on these type of platforms like Debate Talk for You and Let's Talk and Learn and Grow. It's a shame. It's a shame it's like that the drama has to sell, and where everybody else is just selling drama and the same debate topics and the same garbage about who is and who ain't and who looks like this and who don't look like that. It's madness. And it's really people who are older than us People who are in their late 40s and their early 50s who just act crazy, act like teenagers.
Yep.
I have my children watch it every so often, and they're like, "Wow, I don't want nothing to do with people of that mindset." This is kids saying this about grown folks older than them, old enough to be their grandma and uncle and auntie. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate what you're doing, sister. Hopefully I can come back on and we can continue to build. And I would love to build a good rapport with you. We've been in contact, and I thank the brother Sal. Like I said,
Yes.
Let's Talk and
They
Debate Talk for
talking.
you
Yeah.
are the number 2 platforms. You want to
Thank
come here and learn something and be edified and to walk away with something new, some food for thought, and to be on here with Zadok and Sister Reese, the boy Kev and Stanley, and my sis Christine. She handling.
NBA.
Handlebars. Nah, you know me. I'm nothing. I'm just a regular laborer. I just speak for. I just work. I just speak for working people. I'm nothing. You know what I'm saying? But overall, handlebars like the flow bot. You good, sis?
Thank you again, everybody. Please, you guys, like, subscribe. Anyone who's checking out the replay, leave some comments. We want to hear those conversations later, especially if it's some really good stuff. We're willing to bring it back even when we have another podcast next week. If it's some questions you guys got out there for these brothers and these sisters, I'm willing to make some time out to answer some questions. I don't see anything else in the chat, any questions or anything, so we're going to end it at that. Thank you again for everybody who
Christine,
came out. Yeah.
Before you go, you see that elder, the brother, Mr. Blacktastic?
Yes.
You definitely got to get in touch. That's one of my elders.
Really? Because he's been very active. And look, he's a subscriber.
I'm telling you.
I can't believe it.
If you want to bring some knowledge and some wisdom and some understanding and some actual teaching and edifying and ministering, because minister means to serve. You want some service of the Most High God? Man, Blacktastic is number 1 in my book. Guaranteed.
All right. I didn't even know that because I didn't know who this was, but they were like killing it in the chat. Like they were like hitting it. And then all of a sudden he just said, "You have a new subscriber." I was like, "What?"
Hey, and if Blacktastic subscribe to you, you rock. You rocking, sis. You rocking.
Oh man, all glory to God. Thank you guys again. I appreciate. So I'm gonna reach out to him then for sure. So Mr. Blacktastic, you see my information, my email there, but I'm gonna find you. You ain't got to find me. Don't you worry. I'm gonna find you exactly where you at. And I'm gonna get in touch with you. I'd love for you to be on my podcast.
What I can do, hey, me and Blacktastic are close. I can most definitely hook that up with you, sis. Me and Blacktastic, we stay in contact. That's my elder. That is a person who I have a high respect for. I love him to death. He already knows it's good.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, you guys, we're going to close it out. Thank you guys again for coming to Let's Talk Podcast. We meet every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm hoping that BA could continue to be a regular speaker on our podcast. And
Most high will, and I will.
Everybody else back. Thank you. And if anyone has any topics that they want to bring forth that they feel like in our community is not getting enough attention put on it, all you got to do, look at the bottom of the screen at the banner, just send me an email or even go on my Facebook and send me a message on Let's Talk Podcast 55. With that being said, y'all have a good night. Until next Sunday, be blessed.
Shalom.
Shalom.